This is Joe Castello's WFO Radio Ignition, covering everything that has wheels, an engine, and a driver.
The reason I race is to get the chicks. You know what I mean?
NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, sports cars, and NHRA drag racing.
Hey, guys, just want to let you know, WFO rocks.
WFO Radio is total motorsports.
It's just so cool.
Fasten your seatbelts, fire up the ignition, and drop the hammer.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now, here's your host, Joe Castello.
WFO Radio, the podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Joe Castello here with you. Hopefully you are doing very, very well. The Super Bowl is in the rearview mirror, and that means racing season is out the windshield. The NHRA Lucas Oil Winter Nationals, presented by ProtectTheHarvest.com, are this weekend, and I am headed to Pomona, California, and I am super stoked. But that is not all. No, that is not all. The Advanced Auto Parts Clash at Daytona is this weekend, Sunday. And that is not all. Haas Formula One is unveiling their 2019 livery, which means the paint scheme, the way they're going to look. But that is not all. We got the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl commercials to talk about. We've got all kinds of stuff. The NASCAR new rules, as in if you are no longer in compliance with the rules, you don't pass post-race inspection, you lose the win. What? That is something that has been in place for a long, long time, going all the way back to Big Bill when everybody was cheating. Everybody was cheating, right? And it's like, well, if you take the checkered flag, you win the race, and we'll just get it back from you another way, right? No longer. Why? Gambling. That's why. I think that's the reason why. And a whole bunch of stuff. Jeff Gordon, Hall of Fame speech. We are going to do something. I'm going to take a page out of Carlos Hawkenstuff's Constant Hawken of Stuff, which is the great Giovanni in Miami. Hello, Giovanni.
Hello, Newman.
How are you doing?
I am well.
The Super Bowl, you've got to be sad. Football season is over.
But yes, there's always a little bit of comatose hangover after the Super Bowl from all the overindulgence of great food and beverage. And
well, you say that. Was there overindulgence and great food and beverage? Was there?
Why? There was always great food and beverage in my house. Well, look at me and look at you. We look like we haven't missed a meal in 20 years.
No, see, don't do that to me. Your elevator going wide, and I'm elevator going down, man. Are you kidding? I've lost like 9 pounds. Are you kidding me? Everybody's telling me everywhere I go, you've lost so much weight, and I can't believe it. Man, I can't believe you're really doing it. But I digress. I don't need to go into my personal successes.
I always enjoy a Super Bowl of great food and great beverage and a great time. No matter what happens up on the TV, it's a matter of choice and entertainment.
That is great. Great stuff.
But there is always a little bit of that natural decline and letdown once the season ends. But
pitchers and catchers, 7 days, something like that.
Pitchers and catchers is coming, racing season. I mean, the year's just starting.
Really, it's good. I'm excited. And there's a lot to be excited about. Like, for instance, the great sponsors that bring you WFO Radio. Listen, NHRA Nitro this week is going to be mega. Hopefully everybody is living in the archive. I know this Ignition show, it's an acquired thing for a lot of people. But the people who support NHRA Nitro, inadvertently, whether they're aware of it or not, also support this show. And so I want to give them a big mention, like the folks at HusseyPerformance.net and Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, Rodax, CoffeeandGrills.com, Catspot Litter, and, of course, Magic Dry. All of these folks, Frank Hawley, motorsportsguys.com, Hankstaffers Metalworking Lubricants, audible.com/WFO Nitro, all stepping up to support this show, making it possible. Now, I can tell you on NHRA Nitro, our guests will include Ron Capps. This is a yearly thing. I was thinking about who I want to be on the show, and I'm reaching out to a lot of drivers, and here's what I don't want to do. The thought process went like this. I don't want to do the same thing every year. Many of you realize that WFO Radio Podcast has been around for 10 years. This is our 10th year, building up to our 10th anniversary. And I don't want to do the same thing every year. I want to mix it up. And so Matt Sackman is going to be on the show. He'll be out there running Top Alcohol Dragster, and Ed Fetterkyle, a local, is going to be local to South Florida, is going to be out there in Pomona starting the chase for a Lucas Oil Competition Eliminator World Championship. So I want to mix it up with categories. And then I thought about the Nitro ranks. John Force Racing, Don Schumacher Racing. There are so many fans that they hear those drivers and they're like, man, we're going to hear a lot of those drivers over the course of the year. So I was thinking, But then I thought, Ron Capps being on at the start of the season to give like a preseason take is something that goes back many years, like maybe all 10. I don't know. Capps is a friend of the show. Capps is a huge supporter of the show. And so, Cap, I'm not breaking that tradition, man. I don't care how avant-garde and crazy I'm trying to get with the guest booking. We're having Capps on. I'm going to get his take. New bodies, new stuff, new things going down. Now, I will tell you, in the NHRA world, and I know a lot of our listeners are strictly NHRA fans, and I appreciate that, and I get where you're coming from. We, Gio and I, are having conversations about this show. Believe it or not, having NASCAR Ignition in the name of the show, is that telling people to not listen? That it's only about NASCAR? I don't know. This is the way the podcast world works. It's just so crazy how it's up and it's down and it's in and it's out and it changes. We got the whole NHRA TV thing to talk about. We're going to get into all of this, right? All of this. The Super Bowl, the ads, all of it. But the way I'm looking at it is that the NHRA fans own this week. This is the week for the NHRA fans to unite, to get stoked about their sport. And I'm excited to be heading out there, and I am going to have different and new responsibilities as part of the NHRA Mellow Yellow Track announcing team. And it's all very exciting what is going to go down. NHRA launches new online video and live streaming service. Going to get into that and the instantaneously negative reaction by so many out there, which is so sad. It's so sad. I try to leave negativity out of the NHRA Nitro podcast. But Ignition? Oh, yeah, there's negativity. I'm not afraid. But here's the negativity. Tony Schumacher, not on the entry list. I'm just kind of clicking and refreshing the entry list and watching as the entry lists fill up. Tony Schumacher, not there yet. And so just kind of hoping and waiting. And we'll see as things go. Maybe on NHRA Nitro we'll have some breaking news for you. But I want to get into all of these things. I mentioned Hawkins stuff and one of his takes. For the past couple of weeks, the guy between us, the guy doesn't have a subscription to cable. He's a full-on cord cutter person. And that's fine.
From what I understand, he's got those the streaming services that you can just turn on and off at your desire.
Well, Hulu and Netflix and that kind of thing. Yes, he does.
I believe he gets the live TV through the PlayStation or something.
The PlayStation View.
I've talked to him about this because I am right there with him.
Cord cutting. Everyone's doing it, cutting the cord, which is exciting about this. But anyway, what does he watch for entertainment? Where do you get the entertainment? And he's got a bunch of things that he's watching. And I got to tell you about Hawkins stuff in that when he shows me something, you got to see this, I will fight him for a little bit, but I will always watch. And when he shows me something, I'm interested in it. He's got a pretty good take on entertainment. So what he has been showing, and he even has discussed on his WFO Patreon show, Talking Stuff with Hawkins Stuff, and allow me to welcome new Patreon, Rich and Saugus.
Whoa, way to go, Rich.
Maybe just for Rich, after making his contribution to the WFO Patreonage, we'll do a secret after show for the Patreons only. But the Patreons have been getting this special for Patreon-only show called Talking Stuff with Hawkins Stuff, where Hawkins Stuff is here, and I'm over there where Giovanni is. And he is the guy who brings up the subjects, and I'm the guy who reacts to the subjects. And it's cool because I feel like I'm, it's like being in the passenger seat as opposed to being in the driver's seat. Being in the passenger seat is so much fun. You just kind of look around and you react and you think and you maybe make a funny quip, and it's great. It's much easier to be in the passenger seat than the driver's seat. And so he brings up funny quips, etc. Check out Talking Stuff with Hawkins Stuff on the WFO Patreon page, patreon.com/WFO Radio. Welcome to Rich and Saugus. And he's tweeting it out, trying to recruit other people to spend $5 a month on WFO. But moving forward, half of the stuff he always is saying is like, Australians reacting to American food for the first time. And they try like short ribs, barbecue from Memphis for the first time. And they've never had it ever before. And it's like trying barbecue. All these different people from different countries around the world reacting to various things. American stuff, shows, music. The latest one, and apparently this is very big on YouTube. Allow me to just pause myself and tell everybody who's listening to the show right now, huge Fantasy League information coming up like 1 minute from now. Huge Fantasy League stuff. If you want to be in the Fantasy League, we've got huge news coming up like 55 seconds from now. But young people reacting to stuff, in parentheses, that they should already know about. You know what I mean? Like a group of guys sitting in front of a camera and they're watching Queen videos for the very first time, and they've never heard Another One Bites the Dust, and they don't know what it is, and they've never seen it. These guys are in their 20s, and they never heard Another One Bites the Dust, and they don't know about Queen, and they're reacting to it. They're reacting to something that they haven't seen, and apparently it's interesting to watch them react. And you know what? It was interesting for a few minutes, and then it became annoying. What do you mean you don't know what Queen is? Yeah, I heard this beat before, but I didn't know it was a song. Or, man, I thought that's what the guy looks like? I thought it was someone different. Thought it was a black guy. Different, interesting reactions. And so we're going to do that here on this show. Gio and I, are going to react to something we haven't seen. And what we're doing is we're taking lack of preparedness and we're pushing it off as art. We're taking the fact that we didn't see something and we're going to make it into content. Think about that. And that is what WFO is all about. So here's the Fantasy League information. We, as in myself, Giovanni, Rich York of the Dirty Hippies, Patrick the Webmaster, all the champions, and everyone that has been in the league since the very beginning, back to the XM satellite radio days on NASCAR radio, have been competing in this Fantasy League for a long, long time, back to 2004. It is commonly known as the most challenging and difficult league in the universe. And even if it isn't, it certainly has the best and coolest trophy.
That is a fact.
A trophy composed of parts and pieces from Penske Indy cars, Hendrick Motorsports stock cars, and Don Schumacher Racing nitro cars from the NHRA. And it was commissioned by me, created by Tom Patsis of coldhardart.com, whose level of fame, is it fame when you're an artist? His level of fame is skyrocketing. I'm just going to go with it. Skyrocketing. This guy is so appreciated. He's an amazing individual, honestly. And that's one of the things I'm so excited about being involved with the NHRA universe is there's a lot of really talented, fantastic people. And, even if they're not good people, they're very talented. But most of them are all great people also. That's a joke. And now is the time for people who want to be in the league to join the league, to get in the league, to fill the leagues. And we want it to be WFO radio listeners. In the past couple of years, we've had different systems, right? Like, what were the systems? Like, I would tell you to hear this and then, email me and I will give you the codes and all of that. And then we gave up on that. And we just started giving it out on the air because if you don't listen to the show, then you're not hearing it and all of that. But this year we have a genuine issue, like a problem. And I don't know how to rectify the problem. Because last year we used Fantasy Racing Cheat Sheet. And in Fantasy Racing Cheat Sheet, if you go to that website, you will see that there are fantasy leagues. And I have a code and a password to give out to Fantasy Racing Cheat Sheet. I'm pretty sure, our 2019 group. But there's something called, and if you go to fantasyracingcheatsheet.com, like you did last year, to get involved with the Fantasy League, to try to get your team name on the trophy. Hopefully it'll be something fun and funny and all that. you will see that the Driver Group Game 2019 is open, and we're playing it at drivergroupgame.com. Stay in the know on the Driver Group Game as well as the Fantasy NASCAR games with Mr. Fantasy NASCAR on his Facebook page. That's our friend Chad Robb, who is a Fantasy League Hall of Famer who tried to get on the trophy last year and failed. And Lowe's Chingones was able to go on and win the title, which is great stuff, and I wish him the best. Maybe he can become the only other person to win back-to-back this year. So what I recommend, I don't know, nor do I understand what this Driver Group Game is. And I don't want to encourage people to enter two things necessarily, but everyone from Team 14 Mike, who is now Team 12, to Josh, his buddy, formerly, to Lowe, to Chad Robb, Mr. Fantasy NASCAR. Everyone is telling me that this Driver Group Game is where it's at. There's only 12 days, 15 hours, 20 minutes, and 40 seconds as of this second till the start of the Daytona 500. Think about that. There's still a Group A. There's still a Group B. There's still a Group C. You can change the number of allocations. I don't know what to do. I don't know what I should be promoting. That's the problem. And so I've reached out to Chad Robb, and I have reached out to some people, and I'm kind of at an impasse. And I will also tell you, to create an excuse for myself, I'm really focused on a lot of other stuff with the Winter Nationals this week and just a lot of stuff. And so this is coming up, and I don't know what to do. So here's what I would do if I was you. If you want to be in the WFO Radio Fantasy League, is I would go back to Fantasy Racing Cheat Sheet and get in there, and you'll see this drivergroupgame.com, and you click on it, and then at the bottom it says log in. And you're going to be asked to log in, and it just takes your information and it moves it over there. But then, because on the two websites you cannot have the same password, because one is for one and one is for the other, it tells you to use the forgot password link to set a new password for this secondary site, drivergroupgame.com, which I have done. And so now I am in there, and there is a WFO Radio League as far as I understand. Your DGG League Daytona 500 entry is not set. What's up, WFO Joe? WFO Radio. And I don't understand, man. But get in there, everybody. Figure it out. Help. drivergroupgame.com. And it appears that we have a league. Are you in the WFO Radio League? What's going on? I
don't know. I definitely went through that to the Driver Group Game
standings,
using the links from the old.
Okay, look, wait, everybody's in here. Spring Point standings: Aviator Racing, Beats 41, Black Ice, Bug Barn, Day Racing 21, Driving Hard, Easy E 009, straight out of Compton. Elephant Racers, Geo in Miami, Highline Real Fine, JG Husker Fan, Low. They're all there, but not everybody. Stubo, what's up, Stubo? So some people have figured it out. And what I'm saying is this. If everybody is automatically part of this league and their stuff carries over, then we should do this one. Because it's what I've always wanted. I've always wanted a league where we can just add people as opposed to everybody getting washed out at the end of the year and having churn.
So, yes, I do see it appears that 23 have signed on. It is in alphabetical order, not in any other particular order from what I could tell.
Yes, that's good.
And
B,
you have to go through it. That's it.
So
do what you got to do. The Bug Barn is in there. I recall he was having some difficulties at.
Yeah, he was tweeting all about it.
What would you call that? I guess I keep an eye on people through the Twitter. Stalking would be a term that could be used if it was like negative or anything, but
yeah. I gotta say, I really like this website, though. This is pretty cool. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm setting a preliminary team right now just to do it. And it's pretty cool. But it says you only get 8 allocations instead of 9. But apparently, we can change that. And so, there it is. So are we doing this? Is this what we're doing? We're doing the Driver Group Game? Everybody do it. Go to Fantasy Racing Cheat Sheet, where it was last year. You've already got a login in case we have to panic and fall back on that. But go to this driver group game and switching on over. And we got to tell Rich of the Dirty Hippies and others.
Well, the hippie's in there.
The hippie is in there?
I think so.
No.
Well,
is he?
This is your entry for the Daytona 500.
I didn't see a D under Dirty Hippies.
Okay.
Or maybe I did.
Maybe I imagine.
No, day racing and driving hard, no Dirty Hippies.
Oh, he's going to be.
Maybe he's not in the league. Maybe this is going to be the year he's out.
That's it.
Mr. Fantasy NASCAR is already in there. Northwest Nitro is in there. Race Guitar's in there. Rich and Saugus, our newest Patreon member, is in there. Royal Flush Racing. Who's that? I wonder if that's... How do these people know to even go here?
I think they probably went to the regular website and just followed the clicking through. It was... I got to say, it was pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I guess if I had spent a little time. But apparently, this is a very different game. In the points allocation, you lead the most laps, you get 5 points. You lead a lap, you get 5 points. You get the pole position, you get 10 points. I feel like that's the way it was.
I feel like that seems like the way it was.
Stage finish, first place, you get 5 points. If you finish second in stage, you get 4 points. So this is an updated system that includes stage finishes in your fantasy score. And I think that's the appropriate evolution to the fantasy league to go along with stage racing. So now when we're watching fantasy racing, if our driver that we picked finishes first in a stage, he or she is rewarded. And maybe we should have been on this a little bit earlier, but, that's why we have virtual producers out there, listeners. This was, I want to blame Giovanni somehow, but I really don't. I'm not going to do that.
I don't even know that this game it was available last year.
No, it's not. It's new.
So then...
But why didn't we know about, why aren't we ahead? Group A. Look.
Well,
starts per group. I can change this right now to how many starts. I can make it 20 starts per group. I can do whatever I want. You understand? For Group C, I can give people 18 starts. I don't think we should change that. Past champions vote. Email me, joe@wforadio.com. How many starts per group? I think we should go with the 9.
I think we should go with the standard 9.
I'm switching it. 9 and 9 and 9. Update starts. And here's the problem is that, we have a legacy here. We don't need an asterisk on the trophy.
I understand.
We can't have an asterisk on the trophy. So, well, there it is. So once again, fantasy racing cheat sheet, where you were last year, if you were, in fact, in the league. And then at the bottom, you see drivergroupgame.com. You're going to click on that. You can click login. It's going to carry over your username, but and they explain it very clearly, you just read. Believe it or not, it's amazing the things you can learn by reading. Read what it says, and it will tell you.
Following the directions.
Follow the instructions, and it will tell you even why. It gives you, believe it or not, a why. Why do I have to do this? Well, it has to do with the authentication. Like the two websites can't have the same password. And so you're going to use forget your password, and they're going to send you a link to your email, and you're going to go to that email and click on the thing and change your password, and then you're in and you're ready to go just like that, which is pretty cool. Joe@wforadio.com. If you have any questions, email me, and we'll try to get you hooked up. And, invite your friends. There's no limit. There's no reason that we should limit.
We never have, I think.
We wanted listeners
back in
only
the
for a
days when
while.
there was 1,800 leagues and all that.
There it is.
And we did, when we were still at the end of the Yahoo, we're trying to use it as a promotional tool.
There it is.
But come on, come all.
Now, did I ever say what we were going to react to?
No, I don't think you did. But that's part of what we do.
We're going to react to something. We're going to react. Listen, the publicity that went out for Jeff Gordon's Hall of Fame speech on NBC Sports was amazing. I saw so many posts and texts and tweets and Facebook posts and just articles about how amazing it was. And I asked Giovanni, did you see this? And he said, no. Did you know that it happened?
Friday night, yes. Right? Friday evening, Friday night.
You don't even know when it happened.
Okay.
I didn't watch it either. And we're going to react. Now, the whole speech is 13 minutes long, and I figured that there's a lot of people out there that didn't get to see it on NBC Sports, and why can't we go with it? And so we're going to do that coming up. We can get into Jeff Gordon for 13 minutes. What's the difference? This guy is a Hall of Fame guy. He's an epic icon, Jeff Gordon. And what people are saying about the speech is very positive. And so since you haven't seen it and I haven't seen it, isn't it the perfect opportunity? Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, why haven't you seen it, Joe? Why haven't you seen it? Remember, I said lack of preparedness is put off as art on WFO radio. The answer is, Friday night was Fastlane Friday at Homestead Miami Speedway. I was down there calling the action. We had all kinds of great stuff. Then Saturday was a day spent building a fence.
Oh, did you finally get that all accomplished?
It's up, baby. My fence is up.
The fence was up the whole time. You just were like doing
shorted
some
up. I was mending a fence. Mending fences.
Yeah.
That whole term, mending fences. I know what it means now. Mending fences. I mended a fence. The posts, the pillars.
I think that's literally mending a fence.
I was literally mending a fence.
Yeah, I think when you hear it, it's more of a figurative.
But in my case, no. But I don't think so. I think the figurative came from the literal. Mending fences. No? Mending? Well, I don't even know if I was mending because I was putting in new posts. Is that part of mending a fence? That's a geo tool right there. Where does mending fences come from? So we're going to get into the Jeff Gordon thing. We're going to do the deal. We're going to do Super Bowl commercials. We're going to do all that stuff. I got to tell my crazy Iguana story. Unbelievable. I've had people reach out to me on Twitter. And apparently, we had Todd Smith in studio last week for NHRA Nitro, a show that is now getting a lot of listens. And I think that Todd Smith, underrated two-time champion crew chief. And they went out there and they lit it up in testing. And I was proud that he came in and we had a good time. And during the interview, I mentioned to him about the cold and how it had gotten cold here in South Florida and got down to 48 degrees, but it's never cold enough to kill the iguanas. And that's how I measure cold down here. And I know everybody else dealing with the polar vortex and all kinds of issues. And so I don't want to come across as, sometimes we like...
It's sensitive.
Sometimes we laugh. This was not the time to laugh. This was a serious time. People died in the cold.
He died?
But the iguanas are still alive. And somebody reaches out, why do you hate these iguanas? And it's not that I hate them. It's that they're...
everywhere.
There are just a lot of them, and it's making me feel uncomfortable. There's just seems to be too many of them. So here's a quick story about what's going on here in South Florida so you can understand. And then we'll get into all the rapid-fire news and stuff of the day before we head out to Pomona. If you're a new listener, this is how the show goes. We're all over the place. But one way or another, we're going to touch on your favorite thing, including SportsCollision, which will be later in the show. Because, Tom Brady, greatest of all time, right? Went to the pitchers and catchers report. Simple as that. And the Miami Dolphins have a new coach. My father is over here at my house helping me mend the fence. What we are doing, what has happened, is these 4x4s that hold up the fence, like a board-on-board thing in South Florida, keep the neighbors out, right? The 4x4s broke, cracked down low, and so the fence is maybe from wind or maybe from Hurricane Irma, all the pressure that was on it a couple of last year or 2 years ago now. Who knows? But I had been noticing this thing is kind of flopping around, and I need to fix it before I begin all my NHRA travel. This is one of the things that I'm going to get a call. My neighbor is going to be under it. Her feet are going to be kicking out from under it like the Wicked Witch, and it's going to be my fault, and there will be some sort of problem. I can't have that, so I got to fix this fence. So What do? I get into the whole fence thing, and it's a big production, but the bottom line is I finished. And so me and my father are now sitting in my kitchen, kind of like doing the, I guess if, Miller time, if we were drinking Miller, like we just accomplished this thing, father and son, building a fence, working on stuff, project completed, and the afterglow of this project completed, accomplishment, right? And then all of a sudden, the doorbell rings. Ding dong. It's like, oh, someone's at ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding. What is going on? Emergency. And he's like, what is going on? And so I go running over to the door, and I open the door. And who is it? I figured it would be my next door neighbor, but it is not. It is my across the street neighbor. And she is in a panic. Oh, and she is also Jamaican. So there is... I'm not going to do the Jamaican accent, but there is a slight, she's speaking English, but there's a slight language barrier. I got to figure out what's going on here. It's like, very upset for a reason. And what's going on? What's going on? I don't want to say her name on the show because I don't want to do that. Neighbor, lady neighbor from across the way, right? What's going on? What's the matter? Calm down, please. Calm down. I can't understand you. What's the matter? She's bringing in her groceries, and somehow she allowed a giant iguana into her home, and she's freaking out. Now, these things, Gio, how big do they get?
I don't know. There's one over there by my workplace that's got to be from head to tail about at least 3 feet long.
Yeah, they're way longer than 3 feet, man. Like this one was a 4.5-footer easily from nose to tail.
I'm going to take a picture of this guy that I see at work, and I know I have one here, but next time I see him, because I see him all the time, he's not even the green kind either.
He's like a brown one with spikes.
He's like orange and black and funky colored.
Guys,
and he's got these big knobs right here on the bottom of his neck, like balls
like a
coming
dinosaur.
out. He looks and he's got spikes on the back of his neck and all over the spine. He's a scary guy.
They are scary.
I tried to get up close to him and he started shaking his head at me.
They got salmonella. They're covered in disease. They've got sharp claws. They've got spikes. The biggest ones from tip of nose to end of tail can be 5 to 6 feet long. Now, the tail is long. The tail is maybe, more than a third, but still, let me see this. That's huge, and it's horrible. You should tweet this picture immediately, but there's nothing that we have to show us the scale.
The scale. That's the
what
problem.
Is on
I'll
his
do my
face?
best.
That is horrible.
I'm telling you, he's got these like a ball structure coming out for where his jaw ends, I guess. It's a weird-looking thing.
This is an invasive species. We're actually having a problem. We need cold weather.
Actually, that's a little bit of a video, and you'll get a cat runs
right
across.
Gosh. So he's way bigger than the cat. Look at what is he
doing?
Dude,
he's huge. He's scary. He's huge.
This is
and he's just one. There's a whole family. He's the only one of that color. There's a bunch of the regular, like fluorescent green colored ones. And
so
all
my
that.
neighbor is in a full-on meltdown. She wants me to come and save her from the iguana that is now in her home somewhere. So it's like, I got to go put on shoes. We're going to fight the iguana. My dad's like, what is it? It's like, the neighbor has allowed a giant iguana into her home, and we got to go fish it out. We got to go, find it. So I put on my sneaks, and now I need a weapon. What am I going to get? And I, as you all know, WFO listeners, have just gone through a major reorganizational process in this house. So I go right to where the baseball bat is. It's gone. I go to find the big stick that I used to keep over by the thing. It's gone. All my Kifa stuff, the weapons that I had hidden throughout the home just in case, right? They're all gone. They're all misplaced. I can't find anything. So in a pinch, I go get a golf club. It is a putter. I go get a putter, right? I feel like I can poke it, keep it away from me. So I go over there, and now I'm going to ascertain the situation. What is going on? Are you sure it's in there? And she is in full-on meltdown, man. Like, I don't want to characterize it too much, but it was a total full-on meltdown. She wanted to call 911, and the cop's like, I don't think this is worthy of the police. Let's see what we can do to get this giant iguana out. So now, imagine, folks, you are letting your neighbor just into your house with free reign to everything. Like I'm going through everything. So I go inside, and I'm looking up. Is it there? I felt like I was an alien. It's like Bill Paxton, all right? Game over, man. The monster's mad. This thing is somewhere in this house. Where is it? Is it taking up, a defensive position? Is it ready to, launch itself at me? Is it afraid? Is it frightened? Is it a cornered animal? It's certainly got to be scared to death. They've got this polished, super shiny tile. So I'm thinking it's not getting any traction. So now I have to go in and start sweeping the house. So the first thing I do is check the general area. Okay, no iguana. Under the couches, no iguana. On the top of the curtains, no iguana. Okay, so then I go to the farthest point and start clearing rooms. And my dad is with me, and we're back to back. I'm going under the nightstands and looking under the thing. Okay, this room's clear. Close the door. Then the next room, close the door. And we're working our way from one side of the house to the next side of the house. So now everything is clear. No iguana. Are you sure this iguana is in here? Oh, I'm certain, absolutely certain, the iguana is in the house. So I'm going through closets, man. I'm going through their closets, poking.
Is this when your phone rang and they were like, he's in the house?
The calls are coming from inside the house. So I'm poking into these closets, and there's, shoes and just all kinds of stuff. But nothing. And so now the only thing that's left is the master bedroom. And in the bedroom, it's dark. And the light, I guess, isn't on, or it doesn't work. She's not coming in to turn the light on. And I'm alone in there. And so I try to get as much light, and I break out the iPhone, and I'm kind of looking underneath, under the TV stand, under the nightstands, under the bed, no iguana, right? And then I go, and there's a little changing area, and I kind of go through there, and I'm poking through the closets, no iguana. Where is this thing? Where is this thing? And then I look into the back bathroom, the final room, and there it is, the iguana. And it's like claws are scraping on the tile. And it's running at me. And then it turns, it sees me, and it goes and it runs and hides behind the toilet. And it's cornered in there behind the toilet. And it's trying to gain traction. It's trying to climb up the walls. And it's making this horrible noise, like a shriek, but not really. It's just like an iguana noise, which I can't begin to do in the moment. I've got my golf club in a defensive position, and I'm ready to poke it. But I close it. I seal it in the bathroom now. And I go, I've found the iguana. I've found it. And it's locked in the bathroom. What do we do? What can we go around the back and open it up? No, it's locked. So I've got to go in there. I got to go in there. I got to go inside the bathroom with the iguana and there's another door in Florida. This is called a cabana bath, and it leads out to your pool or patio area. You get into it from one side, but you exit. 2 doors on the bathroom, and in and out. You pass through.
Doesn't everybody have that?
Cabana bath.
Yeah.
Right. Like a Florida room. Everybody's got those. Florida room. It's kind of an indoor-outdoor hangout area. No? Okay. So my dad's like, what are you going to do? And I was like, you got to just go in there. And he's like, man, don't let that thing, touch you. Like those things, they have sharp claws, salmonella, disease. That's the last thing you want. I was like, I'm just going to go in, go straight to the door, and keep the golf club at it, and open the door. So I go in there, do exactly like my plan, unlock the door, put my shoulder to the door, hit the door. Door is sealed like it's nailed closed. And now the iguana is just looking at
like
me.
It hasn't been open in 20 years.
It hasn't been open in 20 years. I got you now. And he's looking at me. And I'm looking back at him. And so I hit the door again, not budging. I was like, hey, what's up with the door? Is this door like, no, it should be open. And I just laid into the door. The door opens. Bang! Back up. Now the iguana is behind the toilet, and he is furious. And he is like clawing, and, there's a bunch of stuff that everybody kind of has around their toilet universally. Maybe a little brush, a little container for the brush, maybe a little waste paper basket. All of those things that are kind of collected there. Well, think about the iguana is like just shredding through these claws and clanging and banging and all this noise. And finally, I kind of poke him. And
was he rocking his head at you like in that anger thing that they do?
He wasn't
like lizards that they move their head up and down.
Yeah, he would have.
Those of you can see me here bobbing my head.
Yes, bobbing your head. He would have to have been under control to do that. This thing was in full-on freak-out, trying to scratch.
Oh, he was already enraged.
He was enraged, trying to climb up the wall. And I poked him with a golf club and poked him out, closed the door, and it saved the day.
Wow.
It was a battle, man. It was an epic battle.
So you won.
And I did. I won. It was like the Ghostbusters for Slimer.
And you didn't even have to hurt the iguana.
No.
Got
him out. He's out there. This morning I opened the door right there sitting on the sidewalk. There's a different iguana. They're everywhere. And there it is. I just wanted to share my crazy story. I felt like I had really gone through a battle, an epic battle. I felt like, I don't know, like Gandalf in one of the Lord of the Rings movie. Or I felt like, Ripley and Aliens. I felt like all these people who had battled these monsters and came out on top. I did, and I did not kill him or hurt him. I could have brought the pellet gun over there. And
Arnold and Terminator?
Arnold, right. Terminator 2. Because Arnold in Terminator 1 was the guy
I meant Predator.
Predator.
Yeah,
yes.
Predator.
It was like Arnold versus a Predator. Yes. I have had a real-life experience that is very similar to all of those. And I feel like a changed person. It was an ordeal. I've gone through something now. And she was very thankful. Like, she offered us beverages and everything. I was like, hey, that's what neighbors are for. But so to...
Whoa. Dude. Pet? Getting rid of the pet? The pest?
Be a pet. What
pest?
pet?
Sorry, pest.
Pest.
Getting rid of pest and
Beyond
nuisance?
pest. Beyond pest.
Dude, that's like a big up. If she had to call a professional, that would have been a high charge. I mean, I think you got a little bit gypped on that one.
No, I don't. First of all, honestly, let's do quick math. What do you think it would cost if we called a pest guy, middle of the afternoon and said, I've got a giant iguana in my house. I need you to come get it out.
It's $100 just to get the guy to your door.
How much was the raccoon? It was like $300.
Okay. Well, that was different because it was up in the attic.
This is an iguana.
And it was like
it's
a whole
lizard,
family.
Reptile.
But like I just said, it's probably $100 just to get the guy out here.
Yeah.
So I was thinking $2 probably would be a fair
I don't
price.
ask. I'm not
and I
asking
think she
for
should have
cash.
just dropped you at least a fitted spot.
No.
Oh.
No, man, this is my neighbor. I love
I
my
understand
neighbors.
that,
I want
and
them
I'm not
to
saying
feel...
that you should have requested anything.
No.
I'm saying that
I would
if
have
your
rejected
neighbor
it. I would have
was
rejected
really
it.
well, but she should have been
No.
offering some greenbacks, man.
I feel
not
like
a beverage. I could buy my own beer, man. Just give me some money.
I feel like it's about more than money. I'm now a hero in the neighborhood. I've achieved a different level of status. I'm the guy who saved the day. That's priceless. Money. I'm not going to ask for money. Come on.
I didn't say you should have asked. I am just pointing out
Send an invoice?
that the neighbor
It's not too late to send
should
an
have
invoice.
been offering some cashola, buddy. All right, because when somebody comes to the house, let's say they're doing some sort of delivery,
Yes.
whatever it is, whether it's the food
Yep.
or
A mattress.
there you go, a mattress like you had,
Which
or
I
I
just
recently had
The mattress guy's
issues.
got
I
20
had
bucks.
to get a washing machine.
What does the washer machine guy get?
I got the guy. There was two dudes, and I gave them two tens, and I figured they could each get a $10 bill.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to go 220s, but all they did was, first of all, they were already paid and so forth.
Yeah. That's what the
And so-
mattress guy's got. The mattress guy's got a $20 bill to split between them.
Right. Well, luckily for
Figure it
them,
out.
I had two tens. Otherwise, they might have had to fight over the 20.
Yeah. All right.
But
so
that's all I did.
I just wanted to tell my action adventure story. Like, I feel like, I don't know, that maybe there's some sort of a movie script there.
I think that's going a little too
Oh,
far.
all right.
I'm just saying. I mean, maybe it's me, but I think that's a little too far.
All right. So we're going to react to the Jeff Gordon Hall of Fame speech. We're going to talk about the NHRA and their new live streaming show. But the first thing we're going to do is, and Giovanni, you're going to help bring this up as best as you can, because I am searching for it and not finding it, is here it is. The new NASCAR rules situation, which is really cool. Now, I've gone to NASCAR.com. Zach Albert has got a story on NASCAR.com. It happened. It dropped 2 o'clock today, 1:54 p.m., right? And this is something we've talked about forever. Right.
I think we talk about taxes too much.
Forever. And the debate has always been, what is the penalty for cheating high enough to discourage cheating? And that's the debate. And years ago, Big Bill France, when they were all about front gate, meaning live spectator, paid gate for money. That was where all the money came from, for the most part. They did not want fans who went to the track and saw Giovanni in Miami win the race to go home saying, man, that was a great race. Giovanni in Miami, he's the greatest driver. And then, a week later or a day later, read somewhere in a trade, oh, Giovanni in Miami's a cheater, and he didn't win the race, actually, that Moishi Pupik.
Right, that race that you went and saw didn't really end the way you saw it.
Right. And that was the reason for this rule. And with NASCAR and many really old family organizations, their tradition, like there are some things that are held so close to the vest. Traditions like the Super Bowl being on Sunday or Yankee Stadium being an open-air stadium. And if you follow the show, you know that we have covered those in the last couple of weeks, which, by the way, little caveat, the Super Bowl being moved to Saturday topic, I saw it in like 3 other places. Super Bowl Saturday. Sunday, Monday thing, it doesn't end until midnight. Everyone's zonked, exhausted. The whole thing.
And even a game like yesterday that was going by pretty quickly with all the running, at the end, that fourth quarter took a considerable amount of time, and the game didn't end until past 10:30.
That's it. But this is like long-held religion for NASCAR. So here's the story. NASCAR competition officials announced on Monday that post-race inspection for all 3 national series will have a new model for 2019, introducing a system where race-winning teams found to be in violation of the rulebook would be disqualified. The rules change signals a shift in a long-standing tradition of penalizing an offending race winner with fines, suspensions, and/or points deductions, but allowing victories to stand. The new system also accelerates the timetable for thorough post-race technical inspections, which will now be conducted at the track soon after the checkered flag instead of midweek at the NASCAR Research and Development Center in Concord, North Carolina.
Wow, I feel like if just recently when someone got their win taken away this season, was it Kevin Harvick? That was the first thing that we kind of discussed was why does this process take until Tuesday and Wednesday?
Well, this has been an evolution. This has been like hey, let's change to this because it'll be easier for everyone. We're not going to bother taking anybody's win away. So it really doesn't matter whether we inspect right after the race or midweek. Everybody is exhausted after the race anyway. We can just take the car, take it back, inspect it, and it'll be fine.
Okay.
And that
makes sense.
On balance, it seemed to make sense at the time. But after some real-world application, we realized that no, these guys, they're going to do stuff. And eventually we're going to have a situation where the guy who won the race cheated big time, and there is no penalty that we can impose that is equivalent to the win. And so we have to rethink this whole deal. And that's what they've done. I appreciate it. I appreciate the rethinking of the whole deal.
Well, I mean, it's just kind of simple. If new information has come to light, then you have...
New information has come to light. The dude, how about the Stella Artois?
Yeah.
The version we watched was a little different than the version they showed on the television. Just made me sad. I want to see another Big Lebowski. I want them to make another Big Lebowski movie, but have it be as good or better than the original. Can you do that?
Terminator. Terminator 2.
Action movies are so much. You just have more action, and I don't think Terminator 2 was better than the original, by the way. A lot of people say that. That's BS. It was okay. It was good. But there's nothing that beats the original Terminator for just freak out and scariness. And it's clearly a great prediction of the future based on the subject matter in just about all the Super Bowl commercials.
I mean, there was a AI or robotics or...
The theme was AI and robots and robotics. Shows you how far ahead of the curve
every spot.
WFO is.
I mean, in every spot.
WFO.
I was ready to jump under the couch.
WFO. We've been on this thing now for 5 years. Like, watch out for the robots, people. Robots are coming. AI, not all good. Beware. Be cautious. Read up. Watch it. And our audience is very in tune with it. And finally, corporate America catches up to the WFO podcast once again. 10 years, baby. 10 years doing this. Blazing a trail on the razor's edge. Steve O'Donnell goes on to say, I think for us, we're really looking for a total culture change. He's the NASCAR Executive Vice President of Chief Racing Development Officer, and he's Executive Vice President and Chief Racing Development Officer, Steve O'Donnell. We've been through a deterrence model where we've really worked with the race teams at the track and probably been more lenient than we should in terms of the number of times teams can go through inspection and pass, fail, and there's almost incentive to try to get something by NASCAR. So we really want to reverse that trend. We're going to put it on the teams to bring their equipment right. When they come to the track, will be much less lenient as they go through technical inspection with stiffer penalties in terms of qualifying, and then ultimately during the race, obviously we want everyone to be racing straight up. The cars of the first and second place finishers, plus at least one randomly selected car, will undergo post-race inspection at the track. Competition officials said they are targeting a time frame of approximately 90 minutes to 2 hours to complete the inspection and confirm the race winner. Should one of those cars fail the post-race inspection, the driver and team would receive last place points, and the rest of the finishing order would move up, which is very important. That was my first question. So if first place gets DQ'd, does second place get the win? And the answer is yes.
Absolutely. Not that there's not going to be no winner.
Disqualified teams would also be stripped of the benefits of playoff points, stage points, and automatic postseason berths and playoff advancement. That's a heavy hammer. That is a heavy, heavy hammer. All of a sudden, from one day to the next, there is no incentive to cheating at all.
And what did it say? You're out of the playoffs if you get caught cheating?
No.
Oh, okay.
Any benefits, so you don't get your...
Oh, right. Well, that part they had already dealt with the last few years when Harvick and a couple years ago Logano and so forth. We've had this.
The shift in rules marks a distinct break in a long-standing unwritten company policy. Series organizers have avoided taking wins away for decades, adhering to a belief. Just that in itself, adhering to a belief that fans should leave the racetrack with an assurance that the first finisher was indeed the winner. Current-day officials acknowledge the break in tradition, saying that a goal of the new procedures was to accelerate the inspection process and avoid the potential pall that midweek penalties can cast over both the previous week's result and the following week's race. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Oh, that guy that won last week, yeah, he didn't really win, but he gets to be the winner, and everybody thought he was the winner, but really he got penalized, $50,000, blah, blah, blah. Convoluted. Times have changed. We've moved forward on a lot of things, says Jay Fabian, who was named the new Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Managing Director on January 16th. There's always been different thoughts on what the right way to do it, and it's migrated to saying, hey, we really need to do this as more of a real-time thing and make sure it's right post-race and move on with it from the weekend. Agreed. We want to be able to avoid the Tuesday, Wednesday announcement of penalties. We want to take the storyline away and get rid of all of that. Oh, so much agree. Oh, Jay Fabian, where have you been all our lives? So it's up to the teams to behave the right way, and if they don't, they'll get a DQ, and we'll move forward from that on Sunday or Saturday or whenever we race instead of a Tuesday or Wednesday. What do you think of that?
I like it. I mean, overall, it needed to be done.
Yeah, it's not even about whether we like it or don't like it. It has to be done. It must be done. You cannot be the guy who cheated your way to victory, and you get the victory, and you get up there, and Tuesday, that thing you saw didn't really.
Now the only thing is,
didn't really happen?
How hard are they going to be cracking down on certain aspects, and that's just it.
And you sent over a video from NBC Sports back in 2005 about exactly this. So here we are more than 10 years later, 15 years later, still chasing the same story. And we evolved in one direction, and now they're going in the other direction. I think I like this direction better until it happens and we see it. Oh, my gosh, the Daytona 500 winner. Oh, it's this guy. And then, but that's going to be a big breaking news story. And it'll happen close enough. And the guy who's in second place is going to be super happy anyway. What, I won the Daytona 500 because he was cheating? All right. Yeah, you missed the big party.
Yeah, that's about it. I'm sure they're not going to redo the whole victory lane and the hat dance and all that. but I'll take it.
We've got these new, Photoshop. Just like the way they're photoshopping Nick Cage's face on everybody. They'll Photoshop.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, that's a thing. Photoshopping
I
Nick
believe
Cage's
it. I
face.
know. I just didn't know that photoshopping Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Was a thing.
Said O'Donnell, I think it's evolved over time, and you look at it, certainly we wanted to declare a winner at the track, but what was happening was a potential negative storyline that just stayed with the sport and really for the fan base too long. So much agree. So with the ability now, with Jay Fabian coming to the director's seat, we have the capabilities to conduct a thorough post-race inspection at the track and do it in a somewhat efficient timeline and still be able to declare that winner that night, put it to bed, celebrate that winner, and go on from there. Love it. I'm loving all of this. I know someone is against it, so please email me, joe@wforadio.com. We'll discuss next week on the show when I get back from Pomona. NASCAR's history of disqualifying drivers can be traced all the way back to the first race for the Monster Energy Series, then called Strictly Stock in 1949, when Jim Roper was declared the winner at the Old Charlotte Speedway after the car of apparent first-place driver Glenn Dunaway was found with illegal springs. Last year, a rash of 5 penalties in the first 3 months of the season were issued for rear window modifications. That outbreak prompted Scott Miller, NASCAR Senior Vice President of Competition, to indicate that the sanctioning body was exploring harsher punishment for such violations. The Stewart Haas Racing number 4 team drew the heaviest penalty of the season after an illegal spoiler was found on Kevin Harvick's race-winning car from Texas. That infraction became a headline-grabbing story with 2 races left in the playoffs, something Miller said the sanctioning body hopes to avoid this season. And it goes on, but I think we have the gist, which I think it is good, and I support it. And I want to see it, and nobody wants to be the first person to have this happen.
Definitely
and
not.
I think that they have done a good job, like real quick. It just shows,
but I
carrot
think,
and stick,
I think it's a deterrent.
It's a total
There's a serious deterrent now. And like you just said, nobody wants to be the first person. This is going to be serious.
And
serious.
So, like, the point of the story that we were reading about, or the NBC Sports story that you sent over from 2005 with Bill Weber doing the voiceover and everything, was springs settling. What if the spring settles? And then Jeff Burton was like, oh, man, if the spring settles, why are you going to take away the win from everybody? And then they spoke with people. I think Dale Jarrett, his take, and it's kind of funny, they're both on broadcast now, his take was, as soon as you do this, they will find a spring that doesn't settle. They will do what they got to do to make sure BS things don't jump up and bite them and get them DQ'd. And I tend to agree.
Necessity is the mother of invention, and isn't that what it is?
Absolutely. Such a great job pulling a quote, a cliche out of the air by you right
there. Oh, dude,
that was fantastic.
I'm like a fortune cookie with these cliches.
That was really good. And it's so true. And allow me to apply this to NHRA drag racing and anything else. People who say we can or we won't I'll give you an example that I've been thinking of, all right? Like, we are talking about, and just those of us who are talking about the sport in our free time.
Us,
we, us, they. Nobody official, just me, thinking. Everyone talks about how the sport is too expensive and how it costs too much. Costs too much. That's the problem with all motorsports. Costs too much. The hurdle to entry is just huge. And it's really putting a shadow or a cloud over the sport in many ways. A perfect example is that Tony Schumacher is not on the entry list yet for the Lucas Oil Winter Nationals. The hurdle to entry is just huge, spending the money and all. Well, what are some ways to potentially cut costs? And Big Daddy Don Garlits told me several years ago, back prior to switching to 1,000-foot. And Giovanni might have been there that time. That might have been there. I did a quick interview with him at the Museum of Drag Racing prior to the 1,000-foot era. It might have been that year that they were about to switch to the 1,000-foot era following Scott Coletta's passing. Who knows? But Garlits told me they were going to have to switch to 1,000-foot because the tracks were the track shutdown area was too short. And he listed off a bunch of things, and I said, wow, thank you very much, and moved on to the next thing. And what was the next thing? He said, one engine is the answer. One engine is the answer to all of these things. One engine rule. If you tell these crew chiefs they can only have one engine, they'll figure out how to make one engine work. And they will back them down and get down the track with their one engine. And that will be that. And what other style of racing can you blow an engine and keep racing is what Garlits said. Now, I've thought about that. Because, number one, he's Big Daddy Don Garlits. Number two, he was right about the 1,000-foot. And so, what about the one engine? And here's what I thought. I thought, well, one engine is too few. But maybe the theory of limiting the number of bullets you can have, there's something to that.
Well, look, Formula One has done that.
Absolutely. But they've also caused in many people attribute that rule to the skyrocketing cost of everything because, all right, we'll get these 4 engines to live a whole season, but it's going to cost a lot of money to get them to do that. Right. Maybe, they're blowing up engines. They can blow up 10, but they won't have to make them so bulletproof.
Well, remember, like with NASCAR, didn't they go to that one engine rule that when they used to have a qualifying engine and then regular race engines? Well,
it's still in effect. It's still in effect. You get one engine change.
Per weekend, right.
Yeah.
So at least that's part of it. And so what are we thinking, now that we got to go at least X amount of races with the same engine?
Well, for me, in my fun little NHRA analogy, it would be, after, talking to a lot of people, it would be 3 engines. I think that's a nice way
for the whole season?
No, for a race weekend.
Okay.
Like you're
one per day?
You're limited to 3. This is a fantasy scenario I'm just putting out there.
Of course.
Total speculation, which is what this show is all about. 3 engines going into a weekend. And if you're JFR, you're DSR, you're one team, you get 3 engines. That's it. 3 engines. And if you can't figure out how to make 3 engines go 8 runs down the track, tough luck. Well, what about the final round? And you want to, you blow your engine in your third engine in the semifinal. I don't know. Then maybe you have to use one of your engines from the next race. Something. I don't know. But I think that lowers the cost. I think that gives everyone some constraints. And the big teams and the small teams, they all have got 3 engines. Everybody's got 3 engines. There's nobody that has 1 engine. 3 engines. And they can scrape together 3 engines. Maybe the third engine isn't nearly as good as the first engine in some of the nitro ranks. I'm thinking about a guy like, Greg Carrillo, who is trying to make it out there. Like maybe his third engine is kind of just the worst of the parts that he's got. But that's a concept. The point is, necessity is the mother of invention. Whatever the rule says, you're going to figure out how to abide by it. And if the rule and the penalty is so hard, so big, you will overcome. Especially these people. So, very interesting. I like it. Folks in NASCAR. The Advanced Auto Parts Clash is on Sunday. The NHRA Lucas Oil Winter Nationals are on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I will be out there. I arrive Thursday night. And
going to California?
California. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One other thing I want to talk about before we get into, the Haas F1 report is coming up. SportsCollision is coming up. I felt like we spent a little too long on the Iguana, but such a great story. How often does that happen? Battling.
Very often.
Last week I spent forever on my mattress. And people responded. They all felt the same thing. Just for those people, I ended up pulling. I pulled the trigger, all right? I did all the research I could. I went to a store called Mattress Firm. Are they nationwide?
I'm going to go out there on a limb and say yes. I feel like if they just all of a sudden showed up one night and took over every single of those mattress
and they have
company.
one employee in the store. So the next day, remember the girl was putting the hard sell on me?
Yes.
The next day, I decided, you know what? One of those mattresses that I was on is
so you went over there.
Is going to be the mattress. So I'm driving over there, and I called to make sure the girl was there. She was not. Because I wanted her to get
all of that.
I wanted her to get the sale, but her store manager was there.
Just for the record, as of 2016, Mattress Firm operated 3,600 locations in 48 United States.
Okay, so everybody knows about Mattress Firm. They're everywhere.
So probably the continental United States.
And if you listen to Pandora, you definitely know about Mattress Firm because that's all they're advertising every other minute on on Pandora. Now purchased by SiriusXM, by the way. Is that a good move? Is it a bad move? I don't know. I know the SiriusXM stock dipped a little bit, which has me a little annoyed. But that's a different story for a different day. So I went in there and I went to the 2 mattresses that I thought I was going to get. And then the manager of the store took me on a little bit more of a journey, and I got a totally different one.
Okay.
Yep.
And
I don't know. I feel like I'm happy. So far, so good.
how many days have you slept in this new mattress?
Like twice, 3 times.
Do you have like a money-back guarantee kind of thing?
I have 120 days.
Wow, that sounds like 3 months.
Yeah.
4 months.
I think I like it. I think I'm liking it. It's a little different than what I would have gotten.
You should have a big sleepover party so that people could try it out and let you know if they like it too.
Yeah, I don't think so. I have got this like
What do you mean?
5-zone technology.
Huh?
Yeah, 5-zone.
again?
5-zone technology. Like different areas of the mattress are in different firmness because different parts of your body don't require quite as much firmness.
Is that so?
Yeah, and not only that. Remember, they put me on the Malbec, which was like this $4,400 mattress.
Oh, I thought that you were talking about the wine from Argentina.
Well, exactly. And it was pretty good, but, you know, it was nice, and I liked it, but I wasn't going to spend $4,400. This has the same technology as the Malbec.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I've been good.
So
I've been enjoying
you sure
it.
you weren't on one of those Jennifer convertible Castro
Convertible?
convertibles or whatever they're called?
I'm sure.
All right.
So I got that out of the way.
Interesting.
But for those of you who watch NHRA All Access, and will be watching NHRA All Access this weekend, there has been a big announcement, which I am super excited about. And this, to me, this is it. This is what it's all about. And I always say, like, it just goes to show you the, see, I think this is wrong. But whatever. Glendora, California, NHRA fans will experience the thrill of live drag racing on a new platform for the 2019 season. The service, formerly known as NHRA All Access, is shifting gears to become NHRA TV.
Ignition.
NHRA.TV. Current NHRA All Access subscribers will be automatically transitioned to the new platform, which will be notified by email. They're going to be notified via email. NHRA TV will operate on a cloud-based video streaming platform utilizing Sony's intelligent media service. Okay, did you hear that? It's called Venue or Ven.ue. Sony Venue is what it's called. It's Sony's intelligent media service. See, I might have done this a little bit differently as putting out the release. I think it would be something along the lines of, and not to be critical, this is just my own opinion here, NHRA partners with Sony would be my number one thing. NHRA partners with Sony Intelligent Media Service Venue. In partnering with Sony Venue, NHRA will continue to provide ever-increasing catalog of exclusive drag racing video content on demand. NHRA.TV will not only allow subscribers to live stream all 24 NHRA national events in the Mellow Yellow Series, but also access historical race footage, exclusive exhibition matches, and coverage of other NHRA series. Potentially, maybe Lucas Oil events. I don't even know. Live video will be available from Friday through Sunday for all Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series events, with audio available on most other race days. Fans will soon be able to stream NHRA TV, and folks, this is the biggest thing for me, on a variety of platforms, including Android and Apple apps, as well as Roku TV. Now, it says apps. I kind of felt like Apple TV was mentioned in one of the other things. Apple TV. Our fans have expressed the desire for an upgraded, more user-friendly online video platform, says NHRA President Glenn Cromwell. We are excited to partner with Sony and bring their advanced cloud-based streaming service to the world's most exciting motorsport. To subscribe to NHRA.TV and catch all the live drag racing, as well as many historic races, go to NHRA.TV. Current subscribers and NHRA members receive email instructions for accessing the new platform. That is the press release. Now, what I'm going to do is go to NHRA.com just to cross-check and double-check what I read earlier, because I really felt like the word Apple TV was used somewhere. Because to me, I know people who use Apple TV. You hear that hum that just came around?
Nope.
Yeah, good.
Nope.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, man. It just comes and goes, and I'm chasing it down, folks. Chasing it down, doing a lot of stuff, chase it down. You're just going to have to deal with me. And if you don't hear it, then, well, good.
That's best for everyone.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess I jumped the gun on Apple TV, but it says including Android and Apple apps, so maybe it will be on Apple TV. Now, a lot of people have, now, not everybody has the Apple TV. I went and bought Roku, okay? I bought the Roku. I got the Roku, blah, 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 whatever, stick. And I have been watching NHRA All Access for the past couple of days, watching the Winter Nationals. And I do have something to mention to our hardcore WFO radio listeners that are also NHRA.TV, formerly NHRA All Access viewers. Okay? This is not a scold. This is a plea. If you ever hear me with a microphone that is like way lower or staticky or a bad wire like right now, you got to let me know. You got to tweet me. You got to call me. You got to text me. You got to let me know. I am listening to the first hours of the Winter Nationals of 2018, and the mic that I was on had some sort of problem. And it was bothering me. Now, in my memory banks, I remember somebody like telling me like an hour later coming up and they switched out the mic cord. But we battled a mic cord issue for a couple of races. And that might have been okay last year, Not okay this year. Somebody hears me with some sort of audio issue, you need to let me know immediately. So I know a bunch of you out there, have 100 ways to get a hold of me. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Gremlin, all of these things. Joe, mic issues, audio. Your audio's low. Your audio's hot. Whatever. Summit side of the racetrack. And hopefully we'll get that. That wasn't a scold, right? That was a plea for assistance.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. Are you ready to...
That was a cry for help.
It was. Well, you should... I'm going back. First of all, it's the first race of 2018. So, a whole full season of evolution and development was gone. So I hated the way it sounded. But the fact that there was unacceptable audio issues involved had me really annoyed. Which I remember we got them tuned up, and I had a great race at Phoenix. But this is something that was on my mind. And now, this new online video, and the hum is gone, just like that. Listen to that.
Just like that.
Where did that, I don't know. Whatever, we're going to get to the bottom of it. And nobody, you guys don't hear it, but whatever. And what do you think of the logo? You see the NHRA.TV logo? It's trademarked.
I do believe I saw it. I haven't been to NHRA.com, but I am typing away as...
I like that it's a single color. Right? It's all right.
Is it that... Yeah.
The thing with the big dot in the TV?
Yeah, I see it.
NHRA.
I mean, the TV is a little... That T...
I agree with you.
Difficult.
No, listen, man.
It's got more of a C looking to it.
I
or
agree.
Like a box, a house. I get it. I'm sure they're trying to have all kinds of connotations that you can see it on all the square things or something. But I think it could be better.
Listen,
it's just it. Now, I don't want to be negative about everything. That's kind of, but I think they could have done a better job. That's just it. Maybe the NHRA logo should be like the regular NHRA logo with the red, white, and blue instead of just monotone.
No, I don't mind the monotone. That's not what it is. It's the TV is a little freaking me out also, and I agree with you.
But generally, yes, I think the TV is the part of the problem.
Okay, but whatever. Let's not get into that because here's the thing.
That's the least of it. Look, as long as it works and it works well,
and
then who cares what really the logos look like?
But now what I'm going to do is I don't want to submarine people, but I posted this on the Facebook because I was super excited, and I got I got depressed. These people depressed me a little bit. Okay. They depressed me because here we're making an announcement. Like, let's assume that people were generally dissatisfied with NHRA All Access in its previous form, which I don't think is even the consensus. I watched it many times. My father watches all 3 days, every weekend. He's retired. I got him set up with the Roku, and I would say a good 85% of the time, it's working. I remember a couple of examples, like the California wildfires had us down for the finals. A couple of times when we're at tracks that are in the middle of nowhere, we had certain issues. Yes, he's like texting me, yeah, it's not up. What's the problem? Roku maybe didn't work, but the internet worked. You are an all-access subscriber. What's your experience like? Generally, what?
Generally great, positive. I don't think I've ever had an issue where I was unable to connect at all. I've had it on for many hours at a time, and I think the worst thing is I don't even know if it happens maybe just because it thinks that you've just left it playing and it wants to make sure you're on. Sometimes as I leave it there the whole day, I come back and it's frozen or something, and I just click the reload either right there on the screen, or if it's still giving me a problem, I'll reload the whole page.
Well, exactly, and that's what I do. I occasionally, which I only watched one race on All Access last year. Hopefully this year it'll be none. Sometimes at the track I bring it on to watch a replay or something that happens. But I post
again,
this.
generally it's always worked for me. I don't want to say that every single time and it's 100% because, yeah, every now and again it does seem to lose the signal, so to speak. But I've never had an issue where when I tried to reload, it didn't work right then up on the reload. Worst case scenario, I've had to X out and close the page and then just reload a new page, and it works again.
See, here's someone who said, and I'm not going to mention any names, but still on the fence considering MLB TV is $115 for the whole season, which works out to 70 cents a game, where NHRA is $5 a race, and it seems like half the time it's not working properly or is on time. Which, okay, so that's a total exaggeration that it's half the time. Second of all, it's $1.66 a day for an 8-hour day. So let's go down to a game is 3 hours, 70 cents for 3 hours. So the hourly rate is pretty much the same. Number one. Okay, the negativity that I saw for all the glitches in previous years, we should get it for free or severely discounted. My goodness. So much negativity amongst people. So much negativity. There were some people that are, fighting for it as a positive thing. But here's the thing. They made the change. They heard your voice. They heard what you had to say. Rhetorical you, not you WFO radio listeners, because you guys are all super positive, optimistic folk.
Right.
But they have heard your voice and made a change and made an announcement to something that they have gone through and they deem is going to be a better product. We heard you. And what do you do? What do you do? It should be cheaper and free and better, and it was bad. And right there, whatever that is, where is the other one? Oh, man, Scott Hall just hit the ball out of the park, man. Scott Hall is like from Moroso, who runs in Top Dragster, and he's been on the show, and he is a good guy. He was baffled and blown away by this sadness of all these people.
But I really don't think it's all these people. I think that's a handful of negative Nancys, to say the least.
Yeah.
And they just those are the ones that are heard because they're the ones that actually post something. I'll use the example of when we were on the regular radio and you had issues with the callers, but we know the numbers that really the callers were less than 1% of the actual audience are the ones that actually call in.
Yes, less than 1%, absolutely.
Right, and so I think that on social media, when you hear of all this negativity, I think it's also that less than 1% of the people that actually call in or actually go on there and take the time out of their miserable existence to let everybody know how bothered they are.
Well, you're on to a thing here. This is a much bigger thing than all of us because the power of negativity always outweighs the power of positivity. It's very sad. When you go onto a product, like you're going to buy something on Amazon.com and there's like 50 reviews, right? And
right.
like 45 of them are 5-star, it's perfect, but 5 of them are 1-star. Even me, I consider myself a positive character. I want to see what these people have to say, these negative people. What are the negative people? The positive ones, it's fake, whatever. That's just something, it's real, I don't get it. The power of negative is just much more power than the power of positive. It's a very sad thing. And these very small number of people, not just in drag racing about NHRA All Access and not just about everything, they are dominating our civilization and our consciousness. And what do? Do you just tune out all the negative people? Do you punch them in the face? # punch in the face?
Yeah.
Which would be a negative response. Scott Hall. Sorry, Scott, I'm reading your Facebook page. I don't understand why the post from 5 hours ago is 10 posts down. I don't understand Facebook. I hate it. I think I would rather get off of it, but whatever. I'd like to learn something from those who have a negative opinion of the new NHRA TV package. First off, any drag race being streamed live will give what the end user wants, seeing instant results or at least one visual angle to go with. At the end of the day, this is sufficient, can be done at little cost. And he goes on and talking about people wasting $5 on more than one occasion on millions of things. And yet complaining about this. Like, oh my gosh, listen. And, you know, I wanted to type the word cheap. $5, man. $5. You throw $5 into the wind a million times if you're really worried about $5 per event. If you're really worried about that, that's a problem.
We've got 24 events?
Yeah, 24.
Yeah.
By the way, you could renewed for $99 if you had renewed at the end of last year.
Right.
That's what my dad did. He renewed for $99. You know, by the way.
So, by the way, that makes it only like $4 and a few cents.
And you could use my password, too. No, he could, you know, he spends the money. Now, listen, we're all in this wanting to save money all the time and everything to be free all the time. But I think the product is well worth the money. Well worth the money.
I got to tell you, if you're a drag racing fan, and it is. It just is.
And
yes, look, even if it was $120, $150, I mean, yes, it would be great if it was $50, but it's not. Can you go to a racetrack for the weekend for $50, get in Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? No.
Well, the people that I saw posting, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm talking about them because I'm not talking about anyone specifically. I'm talking about the overall consciousness. I had a couple of my local racer friends. They have businesses, right? You know, where they're selling products. Like, well, why aren't those products free? Why are you charging so much for these products? How much that product? Why does that product cost what it costs? Why doesn't it cost less? Why aren't you giving me a better deal? Why isn't it less? Why are you making so much money? Why don't you make less money? Everybody wants everything else to be free, but you know they want to get paid as much as possible. Why can't they know? Why don't they have the self-awareness to realize that?
Not everybody's self-aware.
Why not?
There is just
the self-awareness. Like, I want everybody to work for free for me, but I want to get paid as much as possible by everybody else. I don't want to pay for anything. How much is that dinner? That dinner's too much. Outback Steakhouse is too much, and this is too much, and that Coca-Cola is too much, and everything's too expensive. I want it to all be free. Everything should be free. Except for the stuff that I'm selling you. Which I had a successful sale on OfferUp today. That 15-gallon tank that I had acquired. Some guy came down from West Palm Beach.
Oh, the air tank.
It was a fuel tank. It was a 15-gallon fuel tank.
Oh, okay, not the air
that was sitting in front of the caddy. Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was an air
guy came down from West Palm.
Woof, real far.
$60. They're normally $170. The guy got $110 off. Came all the way down.
Well, he had to drive an hour each way for it.
Yep. And I regained 6 square feet in my garage. No, it was great.
I think you might have regained more than 6 square feet.
It was pretty good. All right, are you ready for us
to get out of here?
Typical Geo. Typical Geo. We haven't even talked Super Bowl commercials. We haven't even talked that. It's been a very intensive show, though.
It really has.
Yeah.
I felt like if
real subjects this week. We're bringing it. You can subscribe to WFO Radio, and no breaks. That's another thing. No breaks. Have you noticed?
That's the new style.
Well, we want everybody to. Okay, everybody do like a mental break for like 5 seconds. Here we go. All right, there we are. We're back. Welcome back. Jeff Gordon was recently inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. His speech has been widely acclaimed by many in the motorsports and sports media. I have yet to see it. And Giovanni in Miami
How can you not have seen it?
Has yet to see it as well. And so what we are going to do for you, two great fans of the sport and Jeff Gordon, we are going to react to the first hearing of the speech, which is available widely all over the internet on NBC Sports, NBCSports.com, YouTube.com/NBC Sports, and many different places all over. Here is, and let's listen, and we'll keep our mics open, okay, Gio? And we'll listen to Jeff Gordon, inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Here comes Jeff. Kyle Larson brought him on stage.
To induct Jeff Gordon into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, please welcome his children, Ella and Leo Gordon, and 2017 NASCAR Hall of Fame inductee, Rick Hendrick.
These kids are big. They're grown-ups.
Well, congratulations tonight to the Kawicki family, Davey Allison, Jack Roush, and to my hero, Roger Penske. It's just been a dream come true for me. When you're growing up, you have a dream. And my dream was all about racing. And for that to happen, it takes a lot of help from a lot of people. But nobody has made that dream come true more than Jeff Gordon. He's like a son, like a little brother, and most of all, a great friend. So along with Ella and Leo, it's my great honor on this first day of February 2019 to present the NASCAR Hall of Fame inductee ring and officially induct my dear friend Jeff Gordon into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Congratulations, buddy. We love you, Leo and Ellie. Let's do the honors.
Jeff Gordon's little boy looks just like him.
I was just about to ask him, still have a longish hair.
So weird watching Jeff get old. Sorry, but it's just weird because he was a kid.
Try looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And chubby, too, Jeff. Come on.
As my son would say, dang, that's cool. What a special evening this is. So honored to be a part of this 2019 NASCAR Hall of Fame class with Roger, Jack, Davey, and Alan, and also my longtime hero, Rick Mears, is in the house. Glad to see him here. That means a lot to me. But also by being surrounded by friends, family, fans. Thank you for being here. And so many people that have worked very hard behind the scenes for me over the years to make this possible. Thank you, thank you. Now, I was told I had about 8 minutes or so to give this speech. I'm not exactly sure if this is going to go 6, 12, not really sure. But honestly, there's really no amount of time that
goes
would
10
be
more
enough
minutes
to thank everyone who's helped me get here to this stage tonight. But timing is exactly what did get me here tonight. It all started very early on when my mom met and married my stepdad, John Bickford, which led to my very first racing experience at the age of 5. Countless weekends racing across the country for many years ultimately led us to Indiana. Yeah, Indiana. And timing couldn't have been better when I was introduced and hired by a guy named Raleigh Helmling to drive his USAC midget in 1989. Just 18, I was able to make a name for myself on the live ESPN races known as Saturday Night Thunder. The very next year, I met a guy named Hugh Connerty, of all places, at the Buck Baker Driving School. Now, for some wild reason, and I'm not really sure, but I had heard later, and actually recently, that Benny Parsons and Leo Jackson talked him into doing it. So thank you to them. And Hugh asked me to drive his car in 3 Busch Grand National races that season. Now, he scraped together a team, and of all people, Ray Evernham happened to be the crew chief who was hired. Now, that's timing. Or, I don't know, just absolute sheer luck, I guess. But something obviously went right in those 3 races, because shortly after that, my phone rang, and it was Lee Morse from Ford asking if I was interested in driving and testing for Bill Davis. Now, Bill, I'm not exactly sure if you're watching, and probably not, but I know you're still upset with me on how I handled the split, and rightfully so. But I will always be thankful of the time that I spent behind the wheel of the Baby Ruth Ford and how important that role was in my NASCAR career. I am proud to say that I've got Keith Simmons here tonight, who's a big part of that team. Keith, you're over here. Thank you for being here. Another perfectly timed moment was in Atlanta, March 1992, when I was racing for Bill, and Rick Hendrick just happened to be watching, as you heard in the video, me slide that car through the corners, just waiting for me to wreck. Well, fortunately, I never did, and actually went on to win that race. And afterwards, a good friend, Andy Graves, who was working at Hendrick Motorsports at the time and was my roommate, told me that Rick wanted to meet with me. So there it was, all the hard work, seizing the moment as often as I possibly could in every good car I had a chance to drive, introducing myself to anyone I could, hoping and wishing that the right person or car owner saw enough in me to take a chance. Well, we all know who that was, Rick Hendrick. Now, he not only took a chance on me, he took a good chance on my good friend Ray Evernham also, and believed in us enough to build a team from scratch to join his already two-car operation with teammates Ricky Rudd and Ken Schrader. And I'm sorry, there's no way I have enough time to explain all the stories and things that went along with being teammates with Ken Schrader here tonight. That's for another show. But there's nothing that compares to winning the first of anything in racing. And it's even harder to do it for a guy like Rick Hendrick with the amount of success that he's had. And even though we accomplished a lot, what I am most proud of in my career is being forever connected to Rick, Ray, and everyone on that 24 team in 1995 when we went out and won our first NASCAR Cup Championship together. I'm so fortunate to have driven the best cars by the best people and owned by the best owner in NASCAR. All the men and women who've sacrificed their time, their families, to create the opportunity to succeed and still continue to do that today. I thank all of you. Now, I've had some great sponsors over the years, and of course we all know we can't do it without the sponsors. But there's one company that has been there for me since day one, and that relationship still continues strong today. A huge thanks to Axalta, and I know some of those folks are here, so thank you very much. Also, all four of those championships that I won and each of the 93 wins were behind the wheel of a Chevrolet. So thank you to Chevy. Now, Ray, buddy, you made me believe more than any other person that I've ever worked with that I could do anything behind the wheel of a race car. And after all that we've been through, and as proud as I am of what we accomplished on the track, buddy, I'm even more proud today of the friendship that we have off the track. And Rick, there's no way to describe it any other way other than you're a great man. You've been far more than just a team owner to me. You've constantly set the bar to make everyone around you want to be a better person at their job, a better person in every walk of life, and that includes me. So I will forever be grateful for your friendship, your mentoring, including all those great one-liners and quotes that you have. I want that book, by the way, one day. You write those down. They're so good. And the faith that you put in me as your driver and with our partnership that still happens today. All the crew chief I worked with are actually here tonight. I love it. Brian Weitzel, Steve Letarte are here. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. I worked with some great ones. Robbie Loomis of all, Zoom is in the house. We won our 2001 championship together, and it's something, buddy, I'll never forget. Alan Gustafson it was such a great pleasure to finish out my career with you. I'm sorry I didn't get you a championship, but I know it is coming very soon for you, my friend. And to every single individual that played a role in the number 24 team's success, thank you for giving a Hall of Fame-worthy effort week in and week out. To my mom and my stepdad, John, you sacrificed everything for me, for racing. I could never thank you enough for the love and support that you have given me. And actually, I share this stage with you. Ingrid, Ella, Leo, I've realized that raising a family is very similar to racing, because some days you're just hanging the back end out, holding on tight, just hoping the caution falls any second. And then there's other days where you're pulling into victory lane, celebrating as proud as you can be. So I am so thankful and lucky to have the love of my life and two amazing kids by my side every morning when we start our engines and every night when we throw that checkered flag. All those fans that are back there, thank you, thank you, thank you. And all the ones that aren't here, yes. I know you know this, but I'm going to say it anyway. You're the heartbeat that makes racing the great sport that it is. And yes, you are. And you have made being a race car driver an absolute dream come true. I'm also excited that even though I'm not behind the wheel anymore, I get to be a fan just like you each time I'm in the booth with Larry, with DW, with Mike up there in the Fox Sports booth. I love what I'm doing right now. You know, it's just not possible for me to put into words or express how much NASCAR's meant to me. But I found this clip from 1990 when I was just turning 19 that I think may describe it best.
Let me ask you one more quick one. Reporters always ask aging celebrities how they want to be remembered, and then it's too late for them to do anything about it. You're 19, you got your whole racing life in front of you. How would you like to be remembered?
Well, hopefully down the road, you know, that I can be a top Winston Cup driver. You know, I want to be up there with Dale Earnhardt, Kenny Schrader, Darrell Waltrip. You know, I would like to be one of them. That's my ultimate goal. And, you know, sure, it's great to be the young kid when he was coming up, but, you know, pretty soon I'm going to get older and they're not going to be able to call me that, so I got to do something. Thank you.
And there he is, Jeff Gordon, one of the greats in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. You know, I thought we would do some commenting, and honestly, it felt disrespectful to speak over Jeff. And, you know, the guy is one of the greats, and how about that? The 19-year-old presence. Boy, did he look a little messed up, though. The cap and the mullet and the mustache, like too many things going on.
Weren't we just discussing those late 80s, early 90s haircuts?
Tails and just so many different things. Tails and all of it. Just crazy stuff. And then just like that, right afterwards, you got the Dale Jr. download to watch on NBC Sports. Very cool, very cool. You know, love Jeff. Jeff, his career is our adult life, basically. You know, we graduated high school in 1991. He jumped on the scene in 1994. Right? 92, 93, 94 is when he was coming around, paying attention. Honestly, my personal racing life, the best year that I ever had, and you'll hear some of that stuff on NHRA Nitro. Ed Federkyle going to come on, and he's someone that is going out to challenge for a championship and competition eliminator. He's someone that I raced with and around as I was coming up. But 1995 was my best racing year. And that's like so long ago. And that's something, you know, Jeff talking about the people that helped him. pursue his dreams and everything. And at the time, it was the same for me, but on a local level. I wasn't trying to be a cup guy. I was just bracket racing on my local level. But we treated every weekend like it was very important. And it was my father and myself and my friends that are in our local racing community and went out and raced every weekend and won a track championship and ran the 5-day bracket race and finished 11th overall in the points. And that's the year that Jeff Gordon went out and had his first championship year.
Wow.
And I was an Earnhardt fan. I did not like Jeff Gordon. I did not hate Jeff Gordon, but I did not like the person that was beating Dale Earnhardt because Earnhardt was everything. And just to watch the sport of NASCAR, like Jeff Gordon, would I be, not to make everything about me, but isn't everything about all of us? Yourself, aren't you thinking about everything in the context of yourself mostly at all times?
Absolutely.
Like the Super Bowl. Watching the Super Bowl, thinking probably at some point, I wish my team was in the Super Bowl. I wish my team would make a Super Bowl. I wish my team could make the playoffs. I wish my team could win more than 8 games. That kind of thing. I wish my team would hire a new coach, which my team did. But isn't everything through the prism of your own life, right? And Jeff Gordon is out there winning all these races. And I'm bracket racing, and I'm at the track, and I got an Earnhardt sticker on my car. And loved Dale Earnhardt and was against Billy Slash, was a Jeff Gordon fan just because he was the new guy. He was the redneck, right? 'Cause I always felt like the term redneck was a slur. I know a lot of people have embraced the word redneck as like something, but it was originally a slur. And there's a whole thing that where people take a slur and they try to turn it into something positive, and then they own it, and that's good for them, good for everybody. Like with Italians, wops, hey, wop, okay, but really it's a slur. It's supposed to be a slur. People are using it as a slur, and you can earn it and turn it in anyway. Redneck, you see people with shirts and redneck and Jeff Foxworthy redneck. Well, my friend Slash loved Jeff Gordon because he wasn't a typical Southern NASCAR guy. And he's exactly the kind of person that, now, first of all, you can be from the South and not be a redneck. And that's what I always fought. It's like, man, just because these people like race cars doesn't mean they're rednecks. They're the hardworking people who love going fast and have technical ability. Engineering. Whether they went to school for an engineering degree at that time is a totally different thing. But that's the argument I was always making. Like, hey, you're judging a book by the cover. You're judging people by a region. That's not fair. It's not right. And I still stand by that to this day, but that's something totally different altogether. He brought in millions of people like Bill who were interested in racing, but they were turned off by a stereotype or, as we find out, like there's some of that in there. There's some of that. They're not all fans of anything, or all, good or good people, or even you can be redneck in the slur and still be good people. Like, there's all these preconceived notions that people have. And Jeff Gordon gave people an option that wasn't that. Opened a door. Well, the only reason I even got on the radio was because I knew motorsports. And what about motorsports made it palatable to people on the radio in Miami? What was it? It was Jeff Gordon. So I sit here and I think, there is a good chance I would not have my broadcast career the way that it is because of Jeff Gordon. It would be different. In 1998, Giovanni and I don't know if you were gone at that point or right in there, I started working in professional radio in 1996 after my track championship year. I had set a goal for myself. I want to win a track championship. Believe it or not, it was the most important thing in my life at the time. I was going to college and, junior college here in South Florida. But to me, racing was everything. And I wanted to win a track championship. Track championships meant something to the people that raced. And I wanted to win a Super Pro track championship. That's what I wanted to win. It was the highest category of racing at the time. Other than winning a big money bracket race, which were rare, it was the biggest thing you could win. It showed season-long dominance. And other racers that I had followed for my whole career, guys went out there and they had won track championships, and that's what I wanted to win. And in 1995, I won one. I won it. It was, by the way, my second. I had won a high school track championship, but not the same. Wanted to race against adults, full competition. And I did it. And I remember my friend Rick McDonough saying, well, now that you've won your track championship, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to pursue my career. I want to get on the radio. And I got, thanks to my great friend George Corso, who was a drag racer with me at the track, he got me in as a board operator at 560 QAM. And so I'm a drag racer, and I'm interested in NASCAR, and I'm rooting for Dale Earnhardt and not for Jeff Gordon in 1996 and my early years there. I'm in the radio station not very long, and the New York Yankees are going to their first World Series in 1996 of my, of adult life. Certainly since 1981, where they lost to the Dodgers. Yeah, you can cheer, Dodgers fans. We're going to get you. We're going to get you back for that. So in 1996, I'm there at the radio station. I'm learning board op. I meet Carlos Hawkins stuff. And I'm the kid who knows about racing and NASCAR and his drag racer friend of George Corso, the chief engineer, who is, Team Corso, well known in the WFO circles. And then I start doing morning board opping where I, meet this long hair hippie board op kid who's like, man, whatever. And he says he knows NASCAR. You don't know NASCAR. Do you know NASCAR? What do you know? He says, I'm a Tony Stewart fan. And it's Giovanni in Miami. And Giovanni in Miami, who also likes Beastie Boys.
Your timing is slightly off. This was actually the fall of 97, right when the Marlins were going to that World Series.
Okay, well, so I had
a
year with the Hawkins stuff, and then 97, the Marlins were going to the World Series.
And I showed up then because that's when I first started getting there, that the Marlins were going through that World Series run.
Which led us to 1998.
Right.
Where Jeff Gordon goes on his epic run.
Right.
Earnhardt wins the Daytona 500. I'm an Earnhardt fan. I remember Darlene Evans started having me on Kiss 99 to talk NASCAR and talk Earnhardt, and Jeff Gordon wins 5 in a row, I think. And Joe Rose of the first team, who Giovanni in Miami has told this story about he nearly got in a fist fight.
No, it was nothing like that.
You had to threaten him.
I was not
you
threatening.
Did. You
I had
threatened
to defend myself.
You took him outside.
It was outside. To be fair, it was not outside of the. It was right outside of the studio in the building, not outside of the building. Remember, we're not outside of the studio.
I thought you went on the side of the building.
No, like in the bullpen area.
Okay.
Outside of the studio.
But you called him outside.
Absolutely, yeah. I wasn't going to do this on the air.
Former NFL tight end.
Yeah, big head.
The guy who caught Dan Marino's first touchdown pass.
Still has the football.
There was a potential physical confrontation between Gio and Miami. This Gio.
I just stood up for myself. That's it.
Like anybody should.
Like everyone should.
And what did you say?
I told him, look, I'm not one of these punk kids right out of high school working here. I'm a grown-ass man. And if you attack me like that again, I know you're a big guy and you're a professional athlete and you'll probably whoop my ass, but we're going at it.
And you'll remember me. You said something like that, too. Yeah.
But basically I told him that, hey, I don't care if you whoop me. We're going to go at it.
Right. Just for context of the situation.
That's it. That's how I've always been. I'm like, I don't care if you're going to whoop my ass, but I'm going to defend myself.
Absolutely. And rightfully so. And so that year is going along, and Jeff Gordon is winning race after race, and Joe Rose, the same guy who's been always very nice to me over the career. What's up with this Gordon kid? What's up with this Gordon kid? And so now I am going to the management. We transitioned at another radio station. I'm doing my stuff with Neil Rogers, meaning transition to another building. And I am going in there to the program director and fighting. NASCAR. NASCAR's coming on the scene. NASCAR's big. Homestead Miami Speedway. Pennzoil 400 race in town. We're getting a race. Jeff Gordon, he's not a redneck. He's this kid from California and Indiana. He's mainstream. Slash Bill likes him. There's all these things. You got to put me on the air. And they did. Motorsports Saturday morning, 6 a.m. Began, I believe, in, somewhere midway 1999. 99. Nine. As the Grim Reaper would say. Imagine Creepers out there. But anyway, so my radio career, my racing and radio and broadcast career is absolutely woven in and through Jeff Gordon's. And so how can you not, watch him and just be like, wow. J.J. O'Malley, who's got a new book on Watkins Glen, who was the PR director out there at Homestead Miami Speedway, hears me doing the show. And immediately calls in. He's like a runner, and he's out there doing his thing. And he immediately calls in. You guys doing motorsports? Yeah, 6 to 7 a.m. I was telling Carlos Hawkins stuff. One of the first shows they had me do was with Kim Beaucamper of Beaucampers. And we did a show just, because they didn't think I could handle it all by myself. They put Beau in there because they were extremely cautious back then, by the way. Look and how they put people on the air now, Gio.
Yeah.
Which gets me very annoyed. Like, man, they'll just throw anybody on the air now. Back then, I had to jump through all these hoops and everything, and I never really got a full opportunity in that situation, which is very upsetting, but whatever. We did get to do Joe and Mark's show, which was great. Me, Kim Beaucamper, in the media center in the infield track, which is now where timing and scoring is, with Adam Petty for the hour. Adam Petty. Sat there with Adam, talked racing. Wow, great kid, wonderful kid. And then, grew in 2001, obviously, the passing of Dale Earnhardt. And just then, 2004, moved on to XM. Met Tommy Noodles. By the way, spoke with Tommy Noodles the other day. Tommy Noodles back in Florida. Tommy Noodles, so great to catch up with Tommy. Hadn't spoken with him in a long time. And I want Tommy to be in and around WFO forever because he's part of it. Like, that's the way I am. I can't cut, I like the idea of moving beyond people that you like. Like, I don't get that. 2004 to 2009, 2004 to 2006, NASCAR Radio, 2006 to end of 2008, XM Sports Nation. Start doing NHRA talk. Here, 10 years later, 2009, start WFO, 2019, here we are. Jeff Gordon announces his retirement. Us, still working. Let's talk Formula One, Haas F1 report. That was just like a window into the life. Jeff Gordon brought me back right there.
Yeah.
He has been woven into my life. Derek Jeter, who I love and was pure like entertainment and like a deity. And I love what he's doing with the Miami Marlins and all of that stuff. Not woven into my life, my, outcomes. By the way, I could look at it negatively. Like, darn it, Jeff. Maybe I will be working at the car lot, selling like $100,000 worth of cars without Jeff Gordon. Maybe I will be doing something a lot easier, just collecting a paycheck, right? Not having to be in this weird lifestyle that I'm in.
Could be.
Who knows? Maybe I should blame Jeff. Right?
Yeah.
And even Ingrid, she taught me something. Remember that time I told her to smile? She said, not on command. Yeah, that's kind of a D thing to do, what I just did there. Smile. Yeah. Like, it's amazing stuff, I think. You may not. All right, Formula One, rules and regulations, 2019, new front wing. And here's the thing. The context is the Haas F1 report. We're not doing a Haas F1 report until we see the car. We're holding it back. The good news is we get to see the car in 3 days.
That's the Haas F1 report, February 7th.
February 7th. New livery, going to be gold and black.
It's not livery?
Livery. Livery? Livery? I hear it always pronounced livery.
Livery sounds like it's got something to do with your organs that take care of all that alcohol you intake.
You're going to have some livery for dinner. The thing about livery is in America, we call it a paint job. Maybe a scheme. But over there in Formula One land, it's livery or livery. Maybe our friends out there can tell us. Maybe Peter. But what's a real bummer, though? I got to tell you, now with the new Haas F1 stuff, like our gear is going to be old and outdated, Gio.
It's going to be, that's it. It's going to be dated.
We're not going to appear like the most current of fans.
Definitely not.
It's a bit of a bummer, but whatever. All right, so here we go.
Like crew members, actually.
They're not going to think that we're the employees anymore.
Yep.
Well, but, obviously, it's very obvious what we're doing. Hopefully it's good for a laugh. A new year means new rules. For those in Formula One, 2019 may not be the wholesale changes due in 2021, all aimed at making F1 racing even more competitive, but they are laying out all-important groundwork. Some will be obvious. The cars will look noticeably different, but others are more subtle. Here's a roundup of what you need to know about the new season's regulations. There'll be a new front wing. What's the change? A wider, higher, much simplified front wing. Why has it been made? To help chasing drivers follow the car more closely and, in turn, increase the possibility of overtaking. The wing's width is increased by 200 millimeters, its height by 20 millimeters, and moved forward by 25 millimeters. Complex end plates that outwash airflow around the front tires are banned. Instead, much simpler end plates mean almost the full width of the wing is devoted to direct downforce generation. The wing's added height further enhances its power to make it less sensitive to stall, so drivers are less likely to suddenly lose front end grip, and when they close up on another car. The multiple underwing strakes seen on the 2018 cars are now limited to 2 on each side, meaning more of the airflow is fed to the underbody. This is less sensitive to aerodynamic disturbance, so it creates a less choppy wake for a following driver to deal with. There you go. Wings, more simple. Or, as we would say, simpler. New barge boards. What's the change? Smaller and repositioned barge boards. You know what a barge board is?
No, sir.
The barge board is that thing that's out kind of in front of the air intake on each cars. You know, they're like
in front of the wing?
Yes.
Or
no,
on the body of the
it's
car?
behind the front tires.
Oh, okay. Not that end piece on the wing.
Nope. Why has it been, do you want a picture of a barge board? Like right here.
Okay. So, yeah you're right. Like in the front of the body, right behind the tires.
Smaller, repositioned barge board. Why? To make it less powerful, less aerodynamically disruptive, the barge boards are reduced in height by 150 millimeters and moved forward by 100 millimeters to better join up the airflow from the front wing. It ultimately helps make the flow coming off the rear of the car less problematic for following drivers, meaning they should be able to get closer to the car in front. A new rear wing. What's the change? It's higher, it's wider, it's simpler. Why has it been made like the front wing to help promote even closer racing? Height is up by 20 millimeters, taking the rooster tail wake off the back car higher into the air. Combined with a width increased by 100 millimeters, the larger wing assembly creates a bigger hole in the air to benefit the cars trying to slipstream behind. Furthermore, the DRS opening is increased by 20 millimeters, boosting its potential power by around 25%, and a limitation has been placed upon the pressure equalizing end plate slots of 2018. Did you know about those?
Nope.
The pressure equalizing end plate slots. Yeah, like it's like a little slot in there. New brake ducts. Quack. What's the change? Simplified design. Boy, you notice a trend? Simplification. They're doing like what I did with my house and my garage.
Yeah, getting rid of them.
They're getting rid of everything. Why has it been made? To reduce the aerodynamic exploitation of brake ducts. Restrictions on complex design mean less surface area for aerodynamicists to play with. The change also means less downforce reduction when that area of the car is in disturbed air, something else that, again, should help drivers when following another car more closely. Do you think any of these things are going to work?
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
Yeah, I know you're hoping so, and I know they're hoping so.
I mean,
because they spent a whole lot of money.
I'm not really an engineer, so I can't tell you if
Can
these
you
things
remember
are gonna...
a time when they did a bunch of stuff and it worked?
No, not really.
Doesn't it kind of feel like they have gone through this process to make it easier to overtake every year or every 3 years, as long as we can remember?
Yes, that part I will give you.
Has it ever become easier to overtake? Remember KERS? Remember the DRS and, all of these things have made it easier to overtake. Has it ever been made easier to overtake?
No.
Maybe a little. Revised tire colors. What's the change? Rather than the rainbow of tire colors used in 2018, Pirelli have cut that down to 3 for 2019. Oh, thank goodness. I agree. There was pink and fuchsia and, red and purple. Why has it been made? To make understanding strategy easier for fans. The terms hypersoft, ultrasoft, and supersoft have also been consigned to the history books. Now, each Grand Prix will feature simply a white-marked tire that's hard, a yellow-marked tire that's medium, and a red-marked tire that's soft. Victory. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. However, the actual compounds used for those 3 designations will change depending on the circuit, with Pirelli having 5 to choose from, C1 being the hardest, C5 being the softest. But I get it. You're only bringing 3 tires, and which one is the hardest, and which one is the medium, and which one is the softest of the 3? That's white, yellow, red. It's going to be a little harder for, people who are really techie into the sport. Well, is that C1 or C5? But what difference does it make to the average fan? Not at all. biometric gloves. What's the change? Drivers are required to wear biometric gloves.
Wow.
Why?
So that they can keep track of their health while they're driving?
To increase safety and help facilitate medical rescue, the gloves developed by the FIA Safety Department feature sensors stitched into the fabric that monitor the driver's pulse rate and oxygen levels in his blood. They transmit that potentially life-saving data back to the at-track medical team before, during, and after a crash. Ooh, I see that being adopted in other forms of motorsport. Basically tells, like, okay, is this person alive? How alive are they? How fast do we have to work? Like the beep, 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 beep. Don't bother.
Flatline.
Doesn't that seem smart? I mean, sounds like something that it sounds expensive.
Definitely sounds futuristic, and that was my first thought. Like, this definitely doesn't help keep the cost down.
No, that's not, but it's for safety, so it's okay. Rear wing end plate lights. What's the change? 2 additional rear lights, 1 on each end plate. Why? To increase visibility of the cars in poor weather conditions and hence improve safety. As well as the traditional rear center light, cars must also have additional LED light on each rear wing end plate. These must be illuminated at all times when the driver is using intermediate or wet weather tires. Interesting. Increased fuel allowance. Yay! Drivers may use up to 110 kilograms of fuel, previously 105 kilograms in the race. Why? To allow drivers to use the engine at full power at all times. They should no longer have to worry about conserving fuel and will hence be able to push harder, especially in the closing stages of a Grand Prix. Don't you agree that that's fantastic? I love these changes. Stronger helmets. What's the change? New, stricter crash helmet requirements. Why has it been made? To give the F1 to sell a bunch of helmets. No, to give F1 safety another leap forward as of 2019, all helmets must conform to the new FIA 8860 2018 standard. Well, that's a year old already. Over a decade in the making, this standard means an ultra-protective helmet offering a number of vital safety benefits, including advanced ballistic protection and increased energy absorption. The front of the visor has been lowered by 10 millimeters to reduce the risks associated with impact from debris, while the helmet shell uses advanced composite materials to ensure improved resistance to crushing and penetration. The slot that the driver looks out, folks, when you see it, you're going to be surprised. It's much more narrow. It looks like Boba Fett. Look at that. You see that? Maybe not Boba Fett. It's one of those guys on the Death Star. You know the one with the little slot?
Yeah,
I think he's in charge of firing up the Death Star, making it go.
So, yeah, no, the helmet definitely does look like there's a considerably less visor area.
The guy that goes...
That shuts down the power?
That turns the laser of the Death Star on. Car weight and driver weight. There's a lot of them, but we're almost done. What's the change? Driver weight will now be considered separately to the car. Why is that? Why has that been made? So that the heavier drivers are no longer disadvantaged by weight regulations. The minimum weight of the car without fuel has gone up slightly from 77 kilos to 740. More importantly, at least 80 kilograms of that must be made up of the driver, his seat, and driving equipment. Lighter drivers can bring themselves up to the 80-kilogram threshold by adding ballast, but crucially, this ballast must be repositioned in the immediate cockpit area and cannot be used elsewhere on the car to help improve its balance. I like the idea of making bigger people a little less disadvantaged. They'll still be disadvantaged. And miscellaneous. Self-scrutineering. The cars will no longer be scrutineered in the traditional sense at the start of the Grand Prix weekend. Instead, competitors must sign a declaration that they are in compliance with the rules, and of course the stewards can randomly check at any time. The end of the race signal. The traditional checkered flag is still shown, but the official end of race signal is now a checker light panel at the finish line. I don't know if I like that. That's the one I'm against so far. Mirror mod. Small changes to mirror regulations in light of the larger rear wing in order to maintain adequate rear visibility. Caught on camera. 2 onboard camera regulations have been modified to improve the TV spectacle. And towing the line. Overtaking on race restarts is not allowed until a driver has crossed the finishing line rather than the earlier safety car line as previously. And there you have it. That is the new Formula One rules and regulations for 2019. I think we're now up to speed. Pretty cool. Pretty interesting.
Wowzers.
Yeah. All right.
Can't wait till Australia in March.
Any other motorsports things that we want to throw out there? J-Ski went off the air last week, kind of as we were talking about it. I don't know if we referenced it. I don't know what it means, but it means something. Or maybe it doesn't mean anything.
All I think it means is that they weren't getting a lot of hits on that ESPN website.
But
it's the only thing it can mean. That's how ESPN works.
So either there was so much NASCAR coverage everywhere else, especially with Twitter and Facebook. Now you can go right to the drivers. Why do you need to go to J-Ski?
That's part of it. I also think that the whole ESPN integration of the J-Ski website into the ESPN
poorly done.
Was poorly done, but it changed J-Ski from being J-Ski to just being a page on ESPN.
J-Ski, right? When they did that, which by the way, I'm under the impression there was a big payday. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm going to say that somebody got paid something.
I'm under the impression there was a big payday at the time, and so I hear people tell stories like, they offered me $1 million for WFO radio, but I wanted to keep it going because it's my baby. And let me just tell you, if anybody wants to offer me $1 million for WFO radio, I will sell it immediately. I will help you get it going. I will help you run it for a little while, and then I'm gone. And I'm going to create LRB radio, whatever it is. I don't know what the acronym stands for. I just made it up. All right, Sports Collision, man. It's the end of the show. So let's get to that.
We'll start the Sports Collision show, Joe. We're not going to compete with the guys that buy our show for $1 million by any means.
Right. Of course
we start our own separate thing. We'd talk poker or something else.
We promised to not talk racing.
Well, I don't know. We wouldn't go that far. We promised that it wouldn't be a racing show.
There you go. Thank you very
that?
much. You're doing a great job.
Dude, come on. I've got this down packed. Remember where I work.
Well, exactly. No, the law offices. I always feel very strongly about our legal representation.
Oh.
Yeah, one way or another. No, it's been a big part of this. WFO Radio Ignition, all of these things. But all right, let's get Sports Collision.
Move on to the Super Bowl with Sports Collision.
One final thing, the Fantasy League. Reminder, get in it. Fantasy League. Do it.
If you need help, reach out to us or any of the other fantasy leaguers on Twitter or Facebook or whatever social media you're on. They are out there helping. We have seen it in action. We are here to help if we can.
18 pro stockers entered at the 59th Lucas Oil Winter Nationals. Jed Coughlin, Erica Enders, Greg Anderson, Bo Butner, Shane Tucker, Alex Laughlin, Roger Brogdon, Derek Kramer, Alan Przinski, Kenny Delco, Matt Hartford, Joey Gross, Steve Graham, Val Smeelan, Jeff Isbell in the Ford Mustang. Yes, there will be a Ford out there. Jason Line, Fernando Quadra, and Chris McGahey. Pretty cool. 18. Very interesting. All right. Super Bowl. Let's get on it.
Worst case scenario, if you can't get to us through any of that stuff, just call us right here at 305-555-1212.
You're just making stuff up now. Making stuff up. So we're going to break down all the scoring in the NFL. That's cracking you up that bad? That's the number from everything, right?
Get information.
Yeah. Just call us at 411.
All right, go ahead.
Kyle Busch is in some sort of feud with NASCAR. I don't know. I got a YouTube video like all-out war between Kyle Busch and NASCAR and I looked up the story and I don't really see anything about it. Kyle says that the new, I don't care what anybody says about whether it's going to be good or it's going to be bad. Let's get out there and race it. Come on, they already made this decision. If you really felt that way, you should have been saying that like before they did it, in the middle of last year, man. Whatever. I think it's just trying to be relevant at this moment. So, the Super Bowl number 53, Tom Brady versus the Los Angeles Rams. I can tell you that I felt like I was going to end up rooting for the Rams, but in the end, I rooted for Tom Brady because he's my age and he's younger than me. But as a Yankee fan, they're basically what we are. They're the greatest of their time right now. They are winning, and people who hate greatness, unless you're like a Rams fan, like, okay, if you're a Rams fan, but the people that root against Brady because he's great, I'm against that. The guy's unbelievable. And he goes out and he wins, Super Bowl number 6.
That is their 6th victory. That is correct.
What was the final score?
13-3.
What was the point of trying to kick a field goal? Well, you need to have an Alcoa fantastic finish here at the end anyway. Okay?
Well, that's exactly right. You're down by 10. And so, in theory, you need a 7 and a 3.
Yes.
A touchdown and a field goal.
But you can't win without the touchdown.
And you can't win without the field goal either.
But the field goal, you're already close to the touchdown. You're in field goal range, but you're in the touchdown.
Right.
Right? You got to have it. Use your remaining plays to go for the touchdown. Get the touchdown. Recover the onside kick, and then you're almost in field goal range anyway.
Yes, theoretically speaking, but if you run out of time and don't get the touchdown, then you can't get the field goal either.
Yeah, but you have to have a miracle anyway.
They really needed at least a timeout, because what happened there at the end was when there was 30-some-odd seconds left and they got the ball down to about the 20-yard line or whatever it was. It was like a 40-yard field goal or whatever it was. It doesn't matter, but if they had a timeout, then they could have stopped the clock with like 30 seconds. And at that point, yes, it might be more of a decision. Do you take a couple of shots at the end zone? But the fact that they didn't have any timeouts and the clock was running and then they had to do a spike, by the time they got the clock stopped, it was like 8 or 10 seconds left. So it was really, it's just trying to do whatever you can to extend the game at that point.
Right.
You're trying to extend the game.
Extend your survival.
And
that's it. Extend the game. Yeah, but it was really over when the Patriots go up 13.
It was essentially over when the Patriots kicked.
There was like 4 minutes left.
No, nothing. There was less than 2 minutes left when they made it a 10-point game.
Yeah.
But look, another wonderful, great, super exciting Super Bowl, right? Isn't that what happened?
Well, actually, you know what? First of all, we have had last year's Super Bowl was very exciting.
Well, the last few years have been. Right. The year before was when the Patriots were down 28-3 and did that comeback.
Look, this was a nail-biter. If you were a fan of either team, you were under extreme pressure and anxiety.
The anxiety pants were on.
Every second of the game. So they can't all be barn burners, gunslingers down the field. This one, I enjoyed it. I watched it.
Yes.
So I got in the car, I listened on the radio. It certainly sounded exciting on the radio. It's Tom Brady pulled it off. He won the game. That's it.
And that's just
Edelman, Gronk. They all got involved.
Look, I'm old enough.
Who was the MVP?
It was Edelman. I'm old enough to remember when Super Bowls were all clunkers, and teams were just getting one team would blow out the other.
Yep.
I'm talking from the late.
Talking about the Buffalo
80s,
Bills here.
And not just the Broncos, early John Elway Broncos went to like 2 or 3 in a row, and each one was worse than the previous one.
Yep.
I think the Broncos were the Buffalo Bills before the Buffalo Bills. And then we saw the Bills get annihilated in all those. And for a while, even the Patriots against that Green Bay Super Bowl, that first one in the 90s.
And the Bears.
And so, yes.
Bears smoked them.
That
should have been the Dolphins. Should have been in that Super Bowl. And so, I was outside of the Orange Bowl for that game where the Dolphins lost in the championship game to the Patriots.
And so I feel like if we've been spoiled over the last decade or so of Super Bowls being pretty good and competitive, but in a few years down the line, no one's going to remember that this game sucked. They're just going to remember that it was the 6th Super Bowl. We don't look poorly upon, which the one I remember being the last kind of semi-boring Super Bowl, that couple years ago, Carolina and the Denver Broncos, when washed-up Peyton Manning was over there and could barely throw the rock at all.
Yeah.
That Super Bowl was a little bit, not all that entertaining also. But nobody remembers that anymore. We just chalk it up as, Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl last year, retired, and so forth.
Yeah. But, hey, that's it.
And again,
what difference does it make?
They can't all be winners, and every game can't be an exciting finish to the last
Your
possession.
Championship games both went to overtime, and they were some of the most exciting games we had seen.
And the divisional playoff rounds were all super exciting and great, too.
It was fine.
But, again, you know what? You said it earlier. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. I'll take it a step further. I think Bill Belichick is clearly the best football coach that ever played.
That we've seen.
That we've ever had. I mean, and I look at it a little bit differently, that I think Bill Belichick's greatness is the fact that it almost can't be defined. When you look back at those eras of whether it was, 70 Steelers and Bill Walsh's 49ers, Bill Walsh had that, he brought the West Coast offense, historically these great coaches have given something to the game or left their mark on the game with either a defensive this or an offensive that. And I think, Bill Belichick is like the chameleon. Like, their teams are just, whatever it is you're good at, we're going to stop that.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
It's a system.
If look, he played this similar Super Bowl, very similar to the first one they won against the greatest show on turf Rams back in 01-02, where the Patriots, if you went down roster by roster, the Patriots clearly were not the better, did not have the most talent. You would say the Rams had more talent position by position, with the exception of probably quarterback, and even, at this point, Gronk, he's not the Gronk of 4 or 5 years ago. He's still more talented than any tight end on the Rams team. But aside from that, this team was very flawed. No deep receiver. Every time they tried to throw to Hogan, that guy was covered single covered every time, and he couldn't get the ball.
I check in on sports radio on a regular basis when I'm in and out of the car. And I can think of several occurrences during the season, early and mid-season, where various national and local talk hosts were talking about Brady doesn't have it, and Brady's done, and Father Time has caught up with Brady, and Brady's done, and what are they going to do with Brady, and this is Brady's last year, and the Patriots, and they're not like real negative talk, like a lot of it, not just a little, like one person. And I just find it to be amazing that they go on and win the Super Bowl. And I wonder, because I make takes here, we make takes, but I don't think we're ever like that blatantly just wrong to say something, to totally call somebody out and have them go on and ascend to the highest level and just put it absolutely in their face. And I think about those hosts, and I wish, not that I could be recording and then call them and then play it back and be like, hey, remember when you said this totally asinine thing just 4 months ago about how this guy was washed up and done and it was over and he's done and you're making a take just because you had to say something on that given day, except it turned out to be as possibly wrong as it could be? A lot of that happened with this.
To be fair,
this year.
I feel like there's a certain element of local radio guys, not local, but sports radio guys.
Local and national.
Yes. But I mean in sports radio that have been calling for the demise of the Patriots and Tom Brady now.
Eventually they'll be right.
At some point, yes, they are going to be right.
Eventually. But they keep being proven wrong.
Look, this season was a very good example of that.
And that's why I rooted for the guy.
While they were undefeated at home, they had a losing record on the road, and they looked vulnerable. But yet here we are, 3 playoff games where the Chargers went in there three weeks ago now, and the argument can be made that the Chargers had a better roster.
Yeah, well, but see, here's the thing, okay?
And the same thing,
and you're
last
talking
week,
about Bill
2 weeks
Belichick.
ago, Kansas City.
Bill Belichick, listen, great coach in his day, 6 Super Bowl titles, but really, yesterday's news now. It's all about Brian Flores.
Yeah, sure.
He was, defensive coach, shut down. He's the guy scheming out all this stuff. Absolutely shut down.
He's the guy that's scheming out.
Hired as the Miami Dolphins head coach. The Dolphins have hired Super Bowl winning New England Patriots defensive coordinator Brian Flores. Everybody is talking about this guy like the leader of men. Like Belichick is totally imprinted on this man, except the next thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so
of course.
Here we, as the Miami Dolphin fans of the world, are at least hopeful and optimistic at this moment that we have. Listen, you can minimize it. We have someone who knows what it's like to win the Super Bowl in our organization.
Okay.
And that is something to give us hope.
Hey,
Brian Flores.
You know what? I'm no one to
the next day
get rid of your hope here or bring down your hopeful situation.
Don't take my hope.
That I feel like if we've heard this before with Bill Belichick assistants and coaches, and maybe this is the guy that breaks that spell of the guys that leave New England. And as much as they try to do what it is that they learned, quote unquote, from Bill Belichick, yet no one has been able to replicate it.
Well,
and I think that it's just that there's no real system. Like, you can't just go in there and say, oh, yeah, we're going to run, the West Coast offense like Bill. Right. Because there's really no Bill Belichick system. when he had the talent like Randy Moss, they were high-flying, and Tom Brady threw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. And when they didn't prior to that, they had guys like Tim Brown play. Not Tim Brown, but I forgot his name. His last name's Brown. Who was
Antron Brown?
No, he was a wide receiver. Troy Brown, short little guy playing wide receiver, ended up playing like defensive back in one of those Super Bowls because they needed him out there in the defense. And just stuff like that. Like,
no, listen, the guy's obviously a genius, and he's the best of his breed to this day. And I get what you're saying because they're plugging in.
But I think it's everything. It's like the whole attention to detail that he completely changed a culture. And I don't know that if this guy that got hired has the authority to do that when he gets here, because he's got two bosses from what we know already.
No, who is two
Chris
bosses?
Greer is the big boss.
Yeah, and who's the other boss?
Tannenbaum's still there.
No, man, come on, Tannenbaum.
And they can say whatever
boss.
they want, but the guy didn't get fired. He got reassigned, so he's somewhere in there.
Someone who gets reassigned does not have the authority to tell the brand new Super Bowl winning head coach that came in from New England anything. I'm telling you. He can make some suggestions. He probably had a contract with some sort of clause in it that caused him to be reassigned. This guy does not have to. And the story you sent me from Armando Salguero basically says flat out that this is Greer's guy, so he doesn't have two bosses, and that they came in and said they were blown away. He's the leader of men, and we, as the Miami Dolphins, expect to be in the Super Bowl in 5 years. That is the plan. 5 years.
If Belichick and Brady have retired by then, it's
quite
possible.
They're definitely going to retire by then.
The way I see it is, at this point, everybody's just waiting for them to be gone.
Which, by the way, that is the silver lining of the whole Dolphins' existence, is really, like, if you really want to have the conversation, not just Dolphin fans, Jet fans, everybody in the AFC, what would the point be of having a good team over this past decade? You would have been beaten anyway. You would have been beaten. We have like a good quarterback and he's good and we got a pretty good team. You would have still lost because these are the greatest head coach ever, right? And the greatest quarterback ever,
yes,
right? On the same team at the same time with an owner that gives them what they need. What are you going to put together that's going to beat that? There's a reason they've won the Super Bowl 6 of 9 times. Nobody's beating it. The whole league. So we in Miami or in Buffalo or in New York or who is going to put together a team that is going to beat that? The answer is nobody. There's only been 3 to do it. But the G-Men twice and the Eagles, and both of them were like cosmic interventions, miracles. The first Giants win. The Giants are leading. Brady gets the ball with it felt like 50 seconds left, and they go down the field, and you're holding your breath. That whole, no, they're coming back.
Yeah,
they
almost
back.
did.
It's the end of the horror movie.
There was even a Hail Mary at the end there that they almost got caught.
That almost got caught. So that one, okay, after the Tyreek catch. The second Giants game, I really don't have any specific recollections.
That was the 4th and 10, inside the 20-yard line for the Giants, and Manningham makes that almost 50-yard catch down the left sideline. Somehow gets 2 feet in. Guy's super covered, and that leads to the game-winning touchdown drive by the Giants also.
And then the Eagles last year, they had a crazy Hail Mary, bounced off someone. He caught it while he was on his ground on the back.
The Philly special fake play at the end.
Those are divine interventions for the fans of the Eagles who had suffered for so long, and New York just being superior. Right?
Look, the argument can be made that
they could easily be 9-9, man.
9-0, yeah.
9 of 9, 9-0, right? Yeah, I mean, couple of plays here or there.
Yeah, but it goes the other way too. They basically all those first Super Bowls they won by exactly a field goal. So figure a Vinatieri kick misses or
what was that crazy stat that they had only scored in the first quarter one time or something?
They didn't score. I believe this first quarter. I believe the scoring happened in the second quarter in this game. But even in all 9 Super Bowls now, they've scored a total of 3 points in the first quarter.
Now you got to respect the greatness, man. You got to respect the greatness. It's good that the Dolphins have stunk during this era because
they haven't stunk enough. They've just been mediocre.
But
they've been between 6 and 9 and 10 and 9 and 7 really. And it's just not enough. You either have to completely stink.
Oh, we're going to stink, baby.
Or it would have been better to have a decent quarterback and compete against these guys. And even if you were just...
Well, wait a second. Hold on. we did compete against these guys. The Dolphins have a good record against this team. The Dolphins against the Patriots, man, unless you're going to try to sell me something that every time Belichick plays the Dolphins, he lays down on purpose to give his guys a rest. But the Dolphins have won games. Okay, so
the Dolphins, yes, they generally win the game that you played down in Miami.
Including the Miami Miracle, man.
Yeah.
The Miami Miracle.
Wow, so there you go.
One of the greatest highlights of the season is against the Super Bowl champions.
So the Dolphins are right there. I mean, they're competing for the Super Bowl because they beat the team that won the Super Bowl.
We're in a different. Well, we certainly have a nice little talking point.
Look, just team in the division. You play them twice a year, and yes, generally the Dolphins play the Patriots very tough in their home game, but it's all the other games the Dolphins can't deal with.
That's because we have had incompetent people in the past.
Well,
now we got Brian Flores, man.
Hey, I wish you the best of luck.
That's
it.
I really
Listen,
do. I was thinking about this, though. When the Dolphins make the Super Bowl, whenever that is, it's going to be very challenging and difficult emotionally. It's going to be very tough. The whole town is going to be messed up. It's going to be really weird. I'm sure Boston was when they were in that World Series. And remember, when they walked the streets back in 2003, all this stuff that happened. Yeah. It's going to be weird down here. People are going to be very upset, emotional. There are people that are dying right now. They're on their deathbed hoping that maybe they could see the Dolphins win a Super Bowl, that kind of stuff. The day it happens, and if the Dolphins go to the Super Bowl, you cannot root for them. You can't. You're banned.
Well, it depends on who they're playing.
We, the Dolphin fans, we have said. All right, let's talk commercials. The winners and the losers. We watch The Gray was like, why are you watching the commercials? Because it's the Super Bowl. This is the best of everything, the commercials.
He's the perfect example of the being ruined by DVR and downloading of everything.
Why are you watching
He never watches commercials on anything.
Yeah.
Is completely doesn't understand why I can't fast forward through the commercials on live TV almost.
Right. Here we go. I just brought up an article on CNN Business, the winners and the losers.
Okay.
I feel like we've seen these commercials, and we can chime in. If you have some, I know you took notes.
Well, I didn't take notes. I just wrote all the commercials there were.
Copious notes?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you their winners, and you either agree or disagree. Bud Light, Game of Thrones. Many viewers were no doubt stunned and perhaps confused to see the beer ad morph into the Game of Thrones tie-in. I agree. When the Bud Knight gets his head crushed by the mountain from Game of Thrones, that was pretty crazy. If you watch Game of Thrones, you get it, and it was like, whoa, and then the dragon comes in and burns it down. I liked it. The Bud Knight is like, yeah, man, I got this, but not against the mountain. And if you don't watch Game of Thrones, one of the most horrific scenes, since you'll never watch it, is there's a guy that you like. Oh, I like that guy, and he's got to fight that mountain, and he's winning, and he's beating the mountain. This is really great. Oh, he beat him. Oh, now he's talking smack to him after he beat him. Why is he doing that? And
didn't turn out well for
Not only that, but they show you him grab his head like this.
Oh, and he poked his eye out?
No,
like he did with
squished his head into just
Oh, well, he
mush.
didn't do that to the Bud
That's what he did to the Bud Knight.
He pushed his eyes in, didn't he?
No, he didn't.
Oh, he squished his whole head?
He squished his head into just pulverized it.
Since I don't watch Dungeons and Dragons,
I
did not. I mean, I'm not a complete retard.
Don't hate.
I understand.
Whoa.
I understood that the dragons were from the Dungeons and Dragons show.
Whoa.
Look, just roll with it, man.
Challenge.
Just ignore it and keep going.
Retard, really?
Here we go. When you bring attention to what
I don't. I don't
ignore it and let it go.
Google. Both of its spots, one featuring the military, the other about how words are translated, were arresting and on point in terms of its brand, providing a ray of hope about the human experience, speckled with fleeting acknowledgement of the darker side.
The Google Translator one was not terrible.
I liked the Google Translate one as well, and the fact that you can get a job as a military person by typing in jobs for veterans is very good. That's a very straightforward ad. Microsoft, the company's ad showcasing special game controllers for kids who need them, was not only uplifting, but a great example of great things that technology can help people accomplish. Yes. How could you possibly say anything negative about that ad? Hulu, the audacity of airing an ad for the dystopian drama The Handmaid's Tale in the midst of the Super Bowl nearly carried the day. I don't know anything about The Handmaid's Tale. I thought it was like some old thing. Apparently it's a modern thing. I know nothing of it. I'm totally out of the loop. Someone tried to get me up to speed. I'm missing it.
I don't watch it. I know it's on Hulu. Tried to watch one episode. It was kind of slow and boring for me. So.
Oh, you really did?
I was out.
Is it like Mockingjay, like some sort of future thing?
No.
Okay. Budweiser, using Bob Dylan's Blowin' in the Wind to tout a beer brewed with wind power. The callback to Budweiser big game spots contained a mix of advocacy and product pushing that also happened to be visually arresting. I don't even know what they're talking about. I don't remember that one. Stella Artois. On their own. The dude. The Lebowski.
And the girl, Sex and the City girl.
Yes. Carrie, Sarah Jessica Parker. It was cute. Whatever. We played it for
and the
you.
world's most... The dude was in there.
The coolest guy on the planet.
The world's most whatever, man.
Most amazing character.
Yeah, the guy
whatever
with the beard.
His name is. Dos Equis guy.
Dos Equis, there you go.
They reassigned him. The old Dos Equis guy. That's the thing. Is
right,
he got reassigned.
The original one.
It's just like the guy from Verizon. He's now with Sprint.
Well,
Apparently, failure, speaking of lawyers, failure to sign a non-compete.
Yeah.
Right. The Washington Post. Sober and spare, the paper's 1-minute ad offered a broad statement on behalf of journalism saying no one keeps us free. The Tom Hanks narration was a nice touch. I saw that one, and I got super excited. I thought it was the Tom Hanks for President ad. I did. I thought it was this is it. Tom Hanks is announcing his campaign for president. He's going to unite the country. Tom Hanks. Bachelor party. Tom Hanks. The Pacific. Tom Hanks. Band of Brothers and Saving Private Ryan, a man who truly cares about the well-being of the United States of America, as indicated by his past, is going to step forward and run for president.
Dude, the most important, all those people he saved in the Hudson, man.
What, is Sully?
He's Sully.
I haven't seen Sully.
Oh, it was a good movie.
Really?
Yeah, I liked it.
Dude, Hanks, man. Come on. How can you not support Tom Hanks?
And not to mention all the time he had to spend in that terminal in the airport because he couldn't get his proper visa paperwork.
Dude, remember when Tom Hanks won that gold medal in ping pong?
Yeah.
The guy has done it all.
And, yeah, he was running across the country side to side.
For a good cause, also, to bring awareness.
Oh, when he worked for FedEx and he went through all that trouble after the plane crash and still saved that package and delivered it 5 years later?
Yeah. And let the volleyball go. That was bad. He floated the volleyball out into the sea, but whatever. Disney, the combination of Captain Marvel and Toy Story 4.
Captain Marvel, I remember that one.
Right after the game with a pre-kickoff Avengers Endgame spot, punctuated a quiet Super Bowl for movie studios with a modest assist from Universal's Fast and Furious spin-off Hobbs and Shaw. I'm not too into that. Captain Marvel, very interested. That's something we'll be discussing on Talking Stuff with Hawkin' Stuff. Kia, amid a surplus of celebrity-driven ads, an understated one that celebrated the ordinary people that produce its cars stood out from the crowd. Kia has got
Telluride.
Telluride.
Yeah, whatever.
Where's Telluride? Where's the city of Telluride? This is a place. Is it Colorado?
Well, I don't know. I think they were saying it's made in North Georgia is what I took from the ad.
Well, maybe it's in Georgia. Telluride. Telluride Ski Condition. Telluride Ski Resort. Telluride Town in Colorado. Telluride, a former Victorian mining town in Colorado's Rocky Mountains, is set in a box canyon amid forested peaks, etc., and so on. Telluride Historical Museum. Google it, look it up. Why are they naming a car that's made in Georgia after a city in Colorado? And I don't want a car that's called Telluride. Telluride? No, Telluride, man. It does look very nice. I think it is a total ripoff of the Chevy Traverse. Like no offense to the South Korean car makers, but I take great offense. What do you mean? It's a total ripoff, man. It looks exactly like the GMC Acadia and the Chevy Traverse, as far as I'm concerned. Like, nearly identical. But that's just typical. I mean, it's happened before. Okay, the losers. Do you have any others that you thought were great?
Yes, I enjoyed the M&M's chocolate bars. That looked pretty good. Oh, my
God, with Kelly Bundy.
Yeah. And, you mentioned Kelly Bundy. I forgot about that, but I guess maybe I'm partial to blonde, but the Sarah Michelle Gellar Oil of Olay.
No, you're
spoof on the
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes.
You used to have a thing.
What do you mean used to?
Okay, there it is. She looked great. She looked great.
Well, I mean, she's, like our age, so she's not really old. Just the fact that she's been on TV her whole life, so it makes you feel like she's old.
Right.
But, yeah, I like that one. And so are you going to get to
crappy
ones?
I have the list of the losers here. What other ones do you have that you liked?
That I liked. Let's see.
I'll read the losers, and maybe it'll jog your memory.
Oh, a Jason Bateman Hyundai Elevator.
That one was cute.
It was all right.
I like Jason Bateman. Jason Bateman was in a show called It's Your Move that was not picked up but it had like 6 episodes or something. Jason Bateman and the original Steve from Steve and Marcy, next door neighbors to Al and Peggy Bundy. And Bateman was like the kid, and Steve was like the guy, and they would like go back and forth with hijinks, and they would prank each other and get each other in trouble and stuff. It's your move. Short-lived show, but I always liked Jason Bateman.
All right.
And then, of course, the big show that he was on.
You may continue.
TurboTax, a robot child who yearns to do taxes, set the bar for creepiness on a day with a fair amount of it.
Oh, I like the Twilight Zone. That seems to be the new. They're going to do another Twilight Zone.
Peele is the Twilight Zone guy. I guess.
I that kind of show interests me. I'm not.
You hate Dungeons and Dragons, but you definitely like the mysterious Twilight Zone.
Yeah, there's a show on Netflix, Black Mirror. It's pretty good.
Burgess Meredith loses his glasses. Olay, the company's first Super Bowl ad, a horror movie spoof featuring Scream Queen Sarah Michelle Gellar, wasted the casting coup where even the slasher wants to discuss her great-looking skin.
See, I thought it made sense. Like the phone wasn't working because she looks so young now, so forth. I got it.
Whatever, I get it. I don't think it's a loser. Planters. It's hard to tell what part of this ad you're supposed to like. The fact that the Planters spokesnut has a peanut mobile, drives like a lunatic, or lives in the same neighborhood as Charlie Sheen, among other celebrity cameos. But I get what you're saying. Devour frozen foods. There was some promise in the idea of confusing love of the company's frozen dishes with porn.
Yeah, I think that one didn't make it.
The ad titled "Food Porn," but no, I didn't see that one.
I don't remember seeing that one. I had seen that one online a few days ago as one that was not approved.
Pepsi, loser. The soft drink giant presented a star-studded spoof around people asking, "Is Pepsi okay?"
Yes, I remember that.
Did I do that right, Little John?
Yeah!
Yeah! Okay.
Yes.
I met Little John once.
Oh, yeah?
At the ESPN X Games. His kid was like doing X Games stuff, which is really just reminds viewers that a lot of people like Coke better as advertising goes. It's a classic self-own. Is Pepsi okay? T-Mobile. The company bought an ad in each quarter, but didn't seem to have anything particularly interesting to say other than offering freebies.
Well, that's what they do. That's their thing.
Avocados from Mexico. Yeah, they've got a very flamboyant CEO. Avocados from Mexico, not to be a stickler, but what does a dog show have to do with avocados? Yeah, I kind of remember that one.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand that one.
Yellowtail, whatever the wine tastes like, the company's ads taste boring, or as they write it here on this, boring. Michelob Ultra. See, robots can do everything better than us, but they don't get to enjoy drinking beer. Of course, they'll have the last laugh when they rise up against human masters and take over. Yeah, another one. AI, a lot of those smart speakers. Does anyone have a smart speaker? Hey, Alexa, subscribe to WFO Radio on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah. I'll give you the one that I thought was the worst. I don't know if you've finished that list.
Audi, should a car commercial ever involve the Heimlich maneuver? I thought that one was okay.
Oh, is that the one for the e-Audi?
Yes, he goes to the future.
All-electric 2025 Audi?
Yes. Burger King, Andy Warhol. It's a talker, but for all the questions the ad invited, nothing about where you really want to make and eat a burger. Where's the beef? Okay, what was the one you really liked? Turkish Airlines.
I did not like.
What was it?
I did not like the chunky milk.
Ah, well, that's on purpose. That's not right.
That commercial sucked.
Well, that one is not nearly as bad as the finger dipping. The finger dipping one is horrible.
Like the Costanza, the double dip?
No, man. They're just dipping their fingers into the dip and sucking on.
Yeah, no.
And the girl is like perfect. She's like, that's so good.
I'm glad to see WeatherTech had a couple of spots.
WeatherTech. We make stuff out of plastic.
Yeah.
We're going to make a whole bunch of stuff out of plastic.
Phone holders.
What else do they make out of plastic?
Items,
We're going to make it.
Everything.
Dog bowl.
Dog bowls.
Phone holder.
That was big.
Anything made out of plastic. WeatherTech. We're making it. I like it too.
Yeah. All the robots were too much for me. The Sprint had one with Bo Jackson and the robots too.
Hey, Google, subscribe to WFO Radio on Apple Podcasts now.
And the Michael Bublé for the bubbly.
Bublé. Yeah, that was a little weird.
Yeah.
Funny.
Kind of funny.
So not the best. Okay, halftime show. Sad I saw so many people say something like this. Okay, ready? oh, man, I must be old because I don't know nothing about any of these people in the halftime show, and it sucked, and whatever. Like, look, guys, here's the deal, all right? This is what happens. You get old, you don't know people. But these people have been around for like 15 years. Maroon 5 is not new. Maroon 5 has been around for a long time. They've had a whole bunch of hit songs. The guy is on TV on one of those shows. He's hosted Saturday Night Live. He's a very common, popular person. This is not some sort of avant-garde play for the halftime show. If you don't know Maroon 5, you're just not paying attention to music at all. On purpose, I get it. It's no big deal. But don't act like it's, in this case, it's you.
Yeah, he's like one of those judges on, obviously.
The guy's everywhere.
Like American Idol type shows,
Yeah.
one of those talent shows. I don't know which one specifically. I would say either America's Got Talent or The Voice or something like that.
The Voice, I think.
There you go.
Yeah. But you know what? I do agree with some of the people out there. His name is Adam Levine. I do agree with the people out there who say the nipple protocol is uneven and unfair. Why is it okay that this guy can take his shirt off and force us all to see his nips?
Yeah.
When Janet Jackson takes off her top and Joe gets fired. What's up with that?
I think it's got to do with all the tattoos. You can't really tell he didn't have his shirt off. Kind of like, what's his name? The guy who...
we have to
crazy basketball player for Cleveland that called the timeout. That tried to call the timeout there at the end.
Yes. I forget.
But he's all tatted up, and he's always without a shirt, and you almost can't tell he's not wearing a shirt because they're all tattooed up.
So I want to make a very important statement, and I think it's true. I want to like Big Boy. I don't know who that dude is. Like
Dude,
the two rappers
he's from Outkast.
Okay, well, whatever.
You don't know Outkast?
I know Outkast.
Well, he's one of the guys in Outkast.
Okay,
it's him and Andre.
I liked the Atlanta ties. I thought the Atlanta Stadium looked cool. Everything was cool. It was all cool. But here's the thing, okay? In our modern world, we're much less tolerant of many things, and we're more tolerant of some things, okay? And I think now is the time has come for us to equalize and even out the policy of bare chest. So we can go one way or the other. And I have my personal preference because the fact is that men, for whatever reason, it's okay for men to be shirtless in public and on television. This is acceptable by our society. And I think, okay. And women, it is unacceptable for them to be shirtless in public and on TV in our society. So we can do one of two things. And it is open to debate. We can either, A, not allow men to be shirtless on TV and in society, which there is actually a little precedent for, because when you go to 7-Eleven, if you have no shirt or shoes, you get no service. So,
not just 7-Eleven, in a lot of places.
In a lot of places, no shirt means no service. Okay?
Unless you're somewhere at the beach.
So, right. We can prevent men from being shirtless in public, which if that's the way we choose to go, I will respect it because I'm not shirtless anywhere. You're not going to see me shirtless on the beach only, where I will be shirtless. If I have to get up to go into a store that's near the beach, I will put on a shirt. I'm not just walking around shirtless. So that's one option. The other option, which is far more intriguing and interesting, is to allow the women to be shirtless as well.
I find that much more intriguing.
It's definitely more modern. It's definitely...
I mean, there's a lot of guys that are walking around shirtless that look like first and foremost, they shouldn't be shirtless, and they're exposing more than some of the women that could be walking around shirtless.
Absolutely. But what we have now, the status quo, I think is unacceptable. We have to pick a direction. Either shirtless is unacceptable on TV and in public, except for the beach, or shirtless is acceptable, men and women. Wherever men can be shirtless, women can also be shirtless, also on TV. What do you say? What say you about this proclamation I'm making? In this new modern era that we are all living in, the idea that we have this shame put upon the women to cover them up is very bizarre and weird. Why is it okay for the man to be shirtless and the woman must cover herself when it's basically just the same thing with a little bit of stuff in there? And there's these guys and they're lifting weights real heavy to make their area look more inflamed.
Pectoral
The
muscles.
the pectorals, like Arnold.
Yeah.
They're working and lifting up heavy stuff left and right, pumping. They're pumping the iron to increase the volume of their chest.
The mass.
So that they can walk around without shirt. While the women, who don't have to do anything to increase the volume of their chest, must cover and shield.
Yeah, I'm all for equality.
It's a little weird, man. It's a little weird. You got anything else you want to throw out there? This has been a very long show. I like it.
No, that's why I don't put the toilet seat down in my house.
Well, whatever. But I'm just saying. You can email me, joe@wforadio.com. If you agree or disagree, I want to know where you're going with that. I want to know where you're going. It's time to unify under one standard set of practices.
No, that's all I got. I got a couple of nuggets. The car, the Telluride, whatever, call it what you want, is assembled, like we just said, in West Point, Georgia.
I'm all for that.
It is a little bit confusing as to why a car.
I'm still a Buy American guy.
Why don't they just call it the North Atlanta?
Right. Call it the Commerce.
And here's one, segueing way back to about 3 hours ago, mending fences.
Yes.
It is
the whole point of GeoTools.
An expression originated in the late 19th century in the U.S. with reference to a member of Congress returning to his hometown to keep in touch with the voters and to look after his interests there. Similar notions are conjured up by the saying, good fences make good neighbors.
There you have it, mending fences. So I was doing nothing like it.
Go and mend his fences with his neighbor.
I'm going to go mend some fences with the neighbor. I'll go back home.
Find a solution to a disagreement with someone.
Right.
So, yes, and it does stem from...
Well, helping a neighbor. Oh, hey, Reggie, let me help you fix your fence, and we'll talk it over. And, that way you don't get in my yard, you and your animals. Bumpus with his dogs. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. WFO. How about this? Giovanni? See?
How about that?
Well, you know what happened tonight? You know what happened on this given episode?
What? Enlighten me.
Effort. That's what happened. The guys are back for 2019. WFO Radio. Tell your friends. Subscribe. Send this show as an example of what we got. You got a crazy iguana attack story. You found out about my mattress. Yep. We talked Super Bowl ads. We went deep on Formula One. We went deep on NASCAR. We heard Jeff Gordon's Hall of Fame speech, and we reacted to it. You got a deep dive in the common weave, the thread that is common with Jeff Gordon through our own broadcast careers and lives, which is interesting. We did not really preview the Advanced Auto Parts Clash very much. Because, honestly, I really wish you would be watching the NHRA.TV stream or Fox Sports 1. Brian Lone's taking over the NHRA broadcast this weekend, too. That's right. It's this weekend. The Lucas Oil Winter National, 330 mile per hour. Top Fuel Dragsters, Nitro Funny Cars, NHRA Nitro. Going to be out soon by the time you listen to this show, more than likely. Ron Capps, Matt Sackman, Ed Federkyle, Alan Reinhardt, and more. We just don't know who that and more is going to be. Thanks to the Giovanni in Miami. Fantasy League, listen, you don't have what it takes, so don't even bother. Okay? And Bobby Graham and Los Jincones and Dirty Hippies and everybody, you better let me know what you think we ought to do. Money Man, this driver game, I think we're going with it. So just log in to Forget Password, change your password, and you're in the new league. And it's on. All right, that's going to do it. See you next time. WFO.
The views and opinions of the host, guest, or caller do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agency.